A new wave has formed for Season 2, an epic tour that ends with a new legacy. The OGs are back, ready to defend their legacy, while fresh meat joins the competition, eager to make their mark. Who is willing to battle door-to-door and conquer 2024? Buckle up, because the season of a lifetime is among us.
Here we go. Who's going to get the better restart?
Steve, look at all this action as we come on lap 100.
First second. Going to go around. This could be the big one.
Hey, four wide in Texas. Time falls back. There's another one. There's another hit. Cox into Miranda. Tate's gonna steal one here in Nashville. Are you kidding me?
Back from the winter break and ready to go racing, the SimRap Market Series trundles into Darlington for race 10 of the season. Just saying race 10 doesn't put much pressure on the field, but saying that we're 3 races away from the playoffs is a game changer entirely. Welcome to Pit Stop TV and the virtual Darlington, South Carolina. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV with Scott Shive alongside, and it's a pleasure to join you for coverage of the No Limit Racing SimRap Market Series. Tonight's coverage from Darlington is brought to you by SimRap Market, by No Limit Racing, and by all series partners. Scott, welcome back from a long winter break. And it's still winter, it's still cold. In fact, last week's race, well, it's this week. It would have been run last week. It was pushed back a week. So an even longer winter break due to some winter weather in the central region of the United States last week. So pushing that winter break even longer, pushing us back now to January 15th for Darlington. Here we are, and we're finally ready to go racing at this beast in the Southeast.
Well, we wouldn't have wanted to miss this amazing track that we all know and love, Darlington Raceway out of Darlington, South Carolina. As everybody knows, 1.36 mile track opened in 1950. And Darlington is, as we know, a very tricky track. Its race line was originally intended to be used as a safety lane, but drivers noticed there was extra banking and was faster, and so they started to use it, and how we know it races today. And this track we would not have wanted to miss, Andrew, because I'm so glad that we didn't skip on over it.
Yeah, I'm glad that we're here this evening, ready to go racing for the 10th time this season. It's crazy. We're already to 10 races. And if we look at the schedule, you can see how we've gotten here so far. Daytona, Bristol, Austin, Las Vegas, Charlotte, Iowa, Atlanta, New Hampshire, and Indianapolis, all in 2024. Now in the new year, racing at Darlington, Pocono, and Richmond to settle the top 12 for the playoffs. Just 3 more races to go. Darlington, Pocono, and Richmond. Then we cap off the regular season and move into playoff racing territory to crown a champion all the way at California on March 12th. Let's talk about those point standings real quick.
I was going to say.
Here they are, and so far, Zach Millett out of Benefield, they're all nicely and safe and up at the top of the field, but a lot of drivers inside this top 12, I say a lot, relatively a lot, are not here this evening. I don't see a Quentin Lee, for example. I don't think I saw an Andon Mendenhall. No, we did see an Andon Mendenhall. So actually,
Brown's not here.
Brown is here.
No, he is. No, I see him. What is it? Who else? Nathan Paris back on in the red is out.
Yes, the field actually filled in a little bit compared to the top 12. So only one driver out of the top 12 now is not here, as Benefield has made it into the session late. So Quentin Lee is not here. He's got a lot of points to fall back on. But then on the other side of things, guys that are trying to make the playoffs, they're not so much here. Casey Knighton's not here. Nathan Paris, as you mentioned, not here. Let's see, Edward Jurgen, I don't think I saw him in the field. So a lot of drivers that were trying to make the playoffs still maybe starting to sense that it's not their time.
Yeah, Nathan Paris out here, 82 points back, not here tonight. Casey Knighton, neither. Daniel Cardenas. We got Brandon Warisi is in the field, 172 points back. While that seems a lot, if he could come over here these next 3 races and have top 10 finishes, well, he definitely has a possibility, a chance. Kevin West in the field, currently second in practice right now, only 24 below the cut line. That is relatively few points out. He could relatively see himself in here even after this race.
We'll see how things look after this race at Pocono next week, but this is how things shake down for now. We'll talk more about these point standings later on in the day. For now, there's a headline on the track, or I guess outside of the track, if you will, and that is the weather conditions. The fog here at Darlington, South Carolina is immense. 75.3 degrees in the air, 81 degree track temp. That's all fine and dandy, and it says partly cloudy, and truly it is. However, down trackside, a fog has rolled in with 97% humidity and climbing, giving us what you see before you. It's not going to affect the racing much. It is going to affect our broadcast cameras a little bit, but for the most part, these guys are just racing under the shroud of fog, and it's going to make it that much more eerie to run around here at Darlington Raceway. It's going to add to the ambiance more than anything.
Yeah, it looks like it's about to dump rain on this racetrack, but I can assure you that it is not 0% chance of rain here tonight in the sim as we wrap up this practice session here at Darlington. Well, like you said, Andrew, not really going to affect the racing, affect the track. It will, however, it has been cooling down the track, so the track temp will stay relatively low here as we race on into the evening. But yeah, it does definitely look very eerie. I ran a dirt race one time, and the humidity must have been high for it, and I had never seen that in iRacing before, so this is only the second time that I've seen this dense fog.
We move a little further into the night now, and you can see the lights are on, just barely peeking through the fog, and the fog is actually thickened a little bit. Weather conditions now, well, the track temp is down to 77 degrees, and it still says partly cloudy, but man, this is going to be a game changer for these guys just a little bit down trackside. We saw this actually build last night in the BRB Racing League at Nashville. We saw a very similar situation, although it took the whole race to happen. This is happening from the get-go. The only other time I've started a race with this much fog was the Icon Cup Series at Talladega back in the spring. That is the only other time I've seen something like this, and it looks like we have an open qualifying session.
Interesting. I'd never seen this before.
Somebody misclicked, because I don't think this was intended at all.
Probably not. These drivers having to spread out across this field right now and looking along with Andon Mendenhall in this 37 Chevrolet machine coming through turns 1 and 2. Again, you'll see them dive down here in turn 1, rush up to the wall on the exit of 2, then cut down again as you see Mendenhall getting a little bit of a wiggle there out of turn 2.
Little wiggle off of turn 2 again. Jared Washon now in the playoffs as we speak. Inside the top 12, newly in the top 12, goes to pole position at the moment. Now Kevin West will unseat car 27. Kevin West looking to make the top 12, could move Jared Washon out of it. Let's see what he can do this evening. He was fast in practice. He was second quick, actually, as Michael Moultrie just spoiled that opportunity for him right at the end of the session. And then Benefield went even faster, so he was actually third quick, my bad. But Kevin West, very quick in practice, looking to be quick in qualifying. Moultrie now to the top of the board. Other drivers moving up. Tucker goes up there. What does West have here on lap 2?
Yeah, we saw Kevin West earlier in this season. We saw him battling and contending for the win early on, back early in the season, but then disconnected in that race when he was battling early on. So he's been strong throughout this season. He's just had some issues here as of recent, the late going. He's currently, again, 14th in the standings right now, just, again, 24 points out. So West looking to have a good night as Millet goes fastest, 29.254, looking along with Matthew Taylor right now in his W44.
Watching Matthew Taylor, Sean Boundy inside the top 10. There's his 34 car. Daniel Wiles in the 88. He's inside the top 10 so far in qualifying. This open qualifying session presents some different challenges. You see other cars in the track. They can absolutely impact your run. Dirty air, whatnot. They can absolutely influence your time. So you want to try and pick a clean piece of racetrack. Maybe you want to try and draft a little bit. It's really up to you if you want to deal with that dirty air in the corners. I think a lot of these guys are going to do all they can to find clean air, as Wiles will go to a 29.253, and that is good for pole by 1/1000th of a second over Zach Millet.
The 88 goes to the top of the charts, pulls down the track. He knows he's put in a good one, just 1/1000th of a second faster than the 31 of Millet, so a great hot lap there from the 88 of Daniel Wiles. Look along here with Millet and Kevin West, again, trying to get out there and continue to put in fast laps, and we look along with three-time winner Adam Benefiel, second in the overall standings.
He just went fastest, knocked down Daniel Wiles' lap time, and the 83 car is looking to start this race from pole position. That bumps Zach Millet down to third place, and you can see Millet's back on the racetrack, although into the pit lane again, so trying to get back out there for a run. We'll see if Benefiel can go faster. He will match his previous lap time and stay at a 29.214. Let's see if he can go faster.
Well, Millet will have to get out there right now if he wants to be able to put in a lap with only 35 seconds left in qualifying. No faster for Adam Benefiel, so a 29.214 will have to do it for him.
Tucker.
He's gonna try it again, and there we go. Joseph Tucker in the 39 machine goes even faster, 4/1000ths of a second faster than Benefiel.
Some big time lap times being set now. Joseph Tucker to pole position. Zach Millet trying to respond. He will not be able to respond. Michael Moultrie's on the racetrack. He's one of the top times left on the track at the moment. Tucker and Benefiel are on the track. Moultrie's on the track. Taylor and Boundy, Rose and Bowman, and that's about it as the session will expire, it looks like. I know we have about 30 seconds to go. Benefiel, top of the board.
Man, cooks it even faster, 29.198. So finds some more speed out there and gets off the track. He is done at the top right now. We got 20 seconds remaining for any of these other cars still out there right now. It's the 08 pulling down other cars out there. Eddie Rose, Gary Bowman, the 46 machine. Eddie Rose, a new driver here this weekend as he pulls down to the apron.
And that'll do it for qualifying this evening. What a session that was. I wouldn't mind some more open qualifying sessions. That was pretty cool. I like that. But anyways, that will wrap up qualifying for us this evening. Let's take a look at the Whiplash SimCam's race details. It's a 193 lap race. So long as they hold true. Oh, they've changed it. Oh dear, they've changed it. I don't think they meant to do that. I don't think they meant to do that at all. That is a lot of laps to run at Darlington. Do you see it?
Yes, I just noticed.
I don't
We have a long night ahead of us.
Yeah, I don't think that was intended. So somebody was falling asleep at the session setup, because 250 laps now is going to be a long time here. It was already set to be 193, and it's been changed apparently. We will update that.
Well, they're going to need some more tires.
Well, I think they've got enough tires. I was going to say they actually have.
6 is a lot to stretch. You know how much they burn here.
Well, if they
depending on how
fuel,
the cautions fall.
They save fuel, or if they get any cautions to save fuel, they can stretch their 65% fuel load to be about 50 laps and make it on 5 segments or 4 stops. So basically 2 extra sets compared to what these guys will be stopping, maybe 1 extra set. Well,
it does not leave a lot of wiggle room.
This is going to be an interesting night, I can tell you that much.
Hey, this is how it goes. Things change on the fly. Andrew knows it a lot better than most. Been doing this for a long time, and the racers will have to adapt to it as well. I imagine not many of them might have known this, but we go from what would have been 190 laps to 250. That's a significant change, viewers. Obviously a number, but amount of time on this track with 6 sets, they would have imagined, oh man, we can get by with 3. But now they got 4 mandatory stops, most likely only able to play around with 2. That means a mistake today will cost you even more.
Let's take a look at the starting grid this evening. Adam Benefiel on pole, Joseph Tucker from 2nd spot. Starting 3rd, it'll be Daniel Wild, Zach Millett from 4th. Starting 5th and 6th, Dalton Tucker making a return, Kevin West from 6th position. Starting 7th and 8th, it's Michael Moultrie and Matthew Taylor. And to complete your top 10, how about Eddie Rose and Sean Boundy?
Well, then back there, it's a 64 of Russell Black, just missing out on the top 10 to his outside the 808 of Gary Bowman. Then Jared Wishon just in the playoffs in that 12th seed. Well, he'll be 13th on the grid tonight. Then Jeremy Brown in the 07, oh so close to a win not many races ago, looking to make a great debut again here tonight at Darlington for this second series. And Mendenhall here in the 37 will come home 15th for this qualifying session. Then in 16th is 9 of Matthew Montgomery, Zach Lindegren, Daniel Cardenas, Christian Light, Alfie Sharon Jr., and Brendan Ruisi round out your 21 car field of this night at Darlington.
Yeah, 21 cars this evening plus a race control, as it looks like Michael Moultrie might be dropping to the rear of the field. He has peeled off and is dropping down the racetrack right now. There he is. This is going to be a significant impact to his day if he has to start from the rear, or if he even starts the race at all at this point.
Would have been starting 7th, again, currently stopped right here
And
down
the field is
on the
rolling
apron.
off the banking, and well, not off the
Getting ready
banking.
to go green.
Yeah, here we go. Green flag on the way from Darlington. Without Michael Moultrie, we are racing at Darlington for 250 laps. Off the second turn, you see that side-by-side, Tucker and Benefiel. Benefiel's going to fall back. Tucker's going to have to run into turn 3.
Tucker had that great momentum off the top side in that 39 machine. Ducks down here, tries to go wiggle from Benefiel. Now he's going to lose that position to Millett. Now he's battling on the inside of Kevin West.
Benefiel drops back to the 4th position, so he's back in line a little bit. Tucker, Millett, and West will take over. And look at the fog from these higher camera angles. We're going to have to live on the lower ones, it looks like. Ones like this. This is going to be an interesting broadcast this evening. We've got fog. We've got accelerated lap counts. We've got tires that might not make it. We don't know what's going to happen here tonight.
Well, as we figure it all out, viewers, you're going to know, hear the action. 3 cars, single file here in the line. Your 3 leaders right now as Kevin West puts down the fastest lap there, 29.567 from 3rd position.
Top 3 rolling down to turns 3 and 4. Zach Millett hounding Joseph Tucker. It's early in the race. These guys just trying to settle in here at Darlington. It's so difficult to do so. And you see just ahead of the leaders, Michael Moultrie has got onto the racetrack. He is on the lead lap, but not by much. There he is in turns 1 and 2, and there you can see the leaders in the background off the corner now. And there they are, about a straightaway behind, a little bit less than a straightaway.
Well, Moultrie is fast, and if he plays his cards right, he'll be able to save enough tire to at least be as fast as most of the leaders, if not all of them. We know Moultrie qualified 7th here tonight. We've seen him up in the top 10 for many races this season. We contact in the back. Someone is sideways and in the wall.
And in Mendenhall, off of Zach Lindgren and Jared Wishon, will get up into the outside wall there and make contact with it. He will fall back with some big-time right side damage. The right front is all kinds of crushed in. Could have been a lot worse, though. Could have been a whole crash.
Yeah, that was excellent for Mendenhall to be able to save it, even if it was some assistance from some cars around. So we keep going green here tonight, and Mendenhall loses a few positions from the start, but looks to be not too much damage as Michael Moultrie puts in the fastest lap now, back from the back.
Moultrie doing his best to run back up to the field. It's going to take a whole race to do it. We ride on board with Russell Black in 10th position, chasing down Eddie Rose and Dalton Tucker. You hear the downshift into the corner. These guys will go from 5th down to 4th in the corner. and then pull back up to 5th on the straightaway. And that's difficult to do here in a place like Darlington. There's straightaway here, but there isn't a ton of time to make that move.
Yeah, I've gotten to race here in the Cup car in the sim, and man, this is one of the funnest racetracks I've ever driven, especially in this Cup car. A lot of people, it's not my favorite car to drive. Intermediate style is not my favorite style to drive, but man, this track is so special that it creates such a fun style for the racing because it's so weird. You're up, the banking is all the way back, the apron is so long, it's such an interesting line. You dive down into turn 1, chase it up towards the wall, then dive down towards the bottom again to get great exit. It's such a funky way to drive, but if you could do it right, it's fun. As you see Matthew Taylor sideways out of 2 there.
Taylor's going to fall back to Sean Boundy. Side by side, they go through turns 3 and 4. A new paint scheme for Sean Boundy this week, and it's working well for him. He will go by Matthew Taylor on the outside lane there. Taylor got a little bit free. You saw the bobble. So Boundy moves up into 6th position. And so far, a clean and green start to this 250 lapper at Darlington. Again, we were expecting 193. So 250 is a big change. It's a long time to be left on the racetrack here. And these guys are in for it this evening. Usually a full race here is either 267 for a 400 miler, I believe, or 367. I'm going to have to check that math. That doesn't sound totally right, but maybe it's 293, I think, for a 400 miler. Anyway.
Yeah, I think 250 is, I want to say like 350, 3 something.
Yeah, it's
in
293,
that range.
293 for a 400 miler, 367 for a 500 miler, so 250 puts us on the racetrack for 340 miles. That's a long race.
Yeah, I don't know when these drivers got that information. Obviously, you can see that stuff when you get in the sim, but obviously we weren't looking because we didn't think there was anything different. Taylor getting in the wall again, having some trouble out here in Darlington.
You see just how spread out the field is, dotting the outside wall now. They are all spread out. There is a battle sparking up back here with Zach Lindgren, and that is going to be Russell Black for the 10th position. Lindgren trying to move forward.
Yeah, Russell Black started in 11th, just outside the top 10. Gained a position with Michael Moultrie falling to the back, but Lindgren been advancing here over the past couple of laps. You want to be careful, again, like we talked about, as he makes it look to the inside here in turn 3. He'll back out of it, just trying to get in the head of driver Dalton Tucker there. Excuse me, not Dalton Tucker, Russell Black, trying to get in his head in that 64 machine. You want to make sure you're not eating up your tire here because, Andrew, we mentioned it, this surface is so rough and aggressive on these tires that if you abuse them, you will be so slow at the end of a run.
Yeah, you got to be very, very careful over the course of a run to make sure you save as much tire as you can. So Lindgren wants to move forward, but also wants to save that tire if possible. At the same time, you might be able to move forward and sacrifice a little bit of tire life and get that track position and save for later. Right? It's definitely a trade-off. There's a couple of different ways you can run this race, but we'll watch along and see what these guys opt to do. For now, Lindgren moving forward from 17th to 11th, and he will dive now to the inside of Russell Black for turn number 3. This is again for 10th position. He backs out, lets Black go up and get the wall.
Yeah, that was a great move out of turn 4, had great momentum, but the outside line is dominant here at Darlington, just able to carry that momentum. It's very difficult to go side by side into turn 1 without giving up a lot of spots. You saw Russell Black dive it in there, caught the wall just a little bit. Sometimes at Darlington, though, I will say, it can help you turn. If you just graze the wall, it'll help your car turn, but it is a fine art to be able to do it, and you don't want to take the risk too often.
On board with Russell Black, looking back at Lindgren. Zach Lindgren a week ago was a part of the Sim Racing for the Kids broadcast team with us at Pit Stop TV. He was commentating about GT3 cars at Road America when this race was postponed to this week. So he has done it all in the last week. He's broadcasted, he's driven, he's done about all there is to do with a lead.
Yeah, it sounds a lot like what I try to do. I mean, I love getting able to drive in Lindgren. Obviously a great driver out here in this series when we've been able to see him out so far. Now back to the inside of Russell Black, not going to back out this time. Now he will advance down low, try to get some speed, and aggressive here, but Lindgren not quite able to do it.
Some time ago, Zach Millett was able to wrestle the lead away from Joseph Tucker. When we were talking about lap counts and Zach Lindgren and such, this 31 was able to move forward. We'll see if we can find a replay of the pass, because it happened relatively recently, I believe. And here we'll go. This is about 2 minutes ago, so call it about 4 laps.
4 laps ago. Again, looking on here, Tucker led all of the race so far. Benefield still back and forth, dropping off the pole. But again, the 39 car looking solid here. So look at Zach Millett in his 31 Lowe's machine down here in 3 and 4. Takes a little bit of a lower line. Now on the exit of turn 4, looks like he'll have a run. Oh, Tucker makes a mistake.
A big bobble off the corner, and that gives the opportunity to Zach Millett to just go on by and take the race lead away. So that is the changing of the guard out front with Millett moving up, and you didn't miss a thing. How about that?
There we go. Had to go back and capture that one. Now Joseph Tucker under attack from the 01 to Kevin West. Here in turn, West will dive it in on the inside, able to make it stick. Now Tucker will carry the speed on the outside, but won't be able to catch up here on the back straightaway.
Turns 1 and 2 now for these two, and West will start to set sail away from Joseph Tucker. Down the Boeing backstretch. And Tucker's going to have to settle into third. You can hear the tires squealing in protest through the corner. And a lot of drivers will actually, they have control over what they hear, right? They have control over the volume and how much of each different kind of sound they hear. So they can tailor it to themselves and what they actually want to get from the sim. A lot of drivers will turn the engine sound down. You don't need to hear much of the engine note, just enough to shift. And they will turn that down so they can actually hear the tires squeal through the corner. And they want to hear that because they want to minimize that, Scott. That is a massive key to saving tire at a place like this. You want to hear the tires so that you don't squeal them too much, don't slide them too much, and make sure they're there when you need them later in the run.
That's exactly what I have been tailoring myself to do recently, because it is such a key asset here in the sim and iRacing. Something you obviously can't do in the real world, but something you can use as an advantage here in the sim. Be able to turn the engine sound down and hear the squeal of those tires. I had someone tell me one time when I was running at Five Flags, he was telling me how to save tire, because I had always thought, you know, oh, I'm going to brake earlier, get on the gas way easy on exit. And he was like, you can do that, but you're going to be a little bit slower. He was like, you want to go as fast as possible without getting sideways at all, without losing grip. If you can do that, you're saving tire. It's a little bit different here at Darlington with how aggressive it is, but if you can stay straight, keep your car in line, you're going fast and you're saving.
On board now with Adam Benefield from Team Conti. As we hit the 1/10 mark through this race here in the next couple of laps, here goes the 83 car to the inside of the 39. This is for the third position, and pass will be completed here in turns 1 and 2. Tucker lets the 83 of Benefield go.
Yeah, it looks like Tucker might have used up just a little bit more than some of these other drivers. Currently running still a good lap time of 29.45. Around where the rest of them are, so just having some trouble here. Might be having some moments like we saw how he lost the lead, but right now just not able to keep up exactly with the same pace of these top three.
And now we'll hit that 1/10 mark through the race. Want to give a big shout out to the partners with the series: SimWrapMarket.com, Apex Sim Racing, IMB Racewear, Moza Racing, RS Button Boxes, Team Conti Sim Performance, Track Bar Media, The Butt Kicker, Extreme Graphics, Cyber Edge Hosting, and Luke's Playhouse in Lincoln, North Carolina. It has been a very fun day to get the race started here at Darlington. 25 laps complete out of 250. And we are just literally scratching the surface and getting started with this one.
Yeah, really, we got a lot of racing to go. Again, drivers adjusting to this new lap count and how they will race tonight. You were already going to have to be patient at 190 laps, but with 250, you have to be even more patient because, again, so much racing is to come. We could see this entire field flip for all we know It's all dependent on how you race other drivers and how you manage those tires. It is going to be an ongoing battle all day long. As we look back here at the 12 of Daniel Cardenas, just behind Jared Bashan, Russell Black, and Jeremy Brown. 3 cars in a line there as Jeremy Brown catches the wall in turn 2. Going to bring him back a little bit to Cardenas, but Cardenas trying to gain up some positions here as he's up 4 from the start.
And Cardenas had some connection issues a couple of laps ago, was actually phased out of existence for a little bit. Came back into the session, didn't lose anything, was lucky not to do so. So trying to just do his best to keep on moving, even with that hindering his performance a little bit this evening. And I think he might play it safe here early in this race as he lifts out of turn number 2 there to not hit the outside wall. That was close. But Cardenas doing his best anyways, sitting in the 14th spot.
Yeah, it is so easy to see Jeremy Brown there in the wall yet again. Able to use it a little bit there, but probably lost a little bit of speed. Now loose on exit. It is so easy to get into the wall on the exit of turn 2. And if you do and you make significant contact, well, you will have wheel damage and your car will drive differently. And differently means slower. Usually, most often, especially in the sim, you don't get those accidents where you might have some damage and it actually makes you faster. Here in the sim, it's almost always guaranteed to make you slower. So you really want to make sure you stay off that wall on the exit, which is why you saw Cardenas being a little careful on the exit of 2.
A couple of teammates at America Racing. Daniel Wiles pulling up on Joseph Tucker. Oh, Wiles up the racetrack big time. I think he got faked out there. He went to look low, and then Tucker went low. I think he was expecting Tucker to run high there in 3 and 4. Faked him out a little bit, and he got crossed up into the corner, went straight to the outside wall there, but able to minimize the damage and keep going. And that's sometimes all you have to do. We talked about it Sunday in the Majors 24, minimizing issues, minimizing what happens to you over the course of an endurance race. And this is going to be a bit of an endurance race for these drivers. Minimizing things like that. Yeah, sure, you're going to have bad things happen. If you can minimize the effect of those bad things, you're in for a better day.
Yeah, I mean, it's so easy to feel like you want to push. You know you might be just a little bit faster, but the faster you go, the more on edge of that grip you go, the more prone you are to mistakes. You saw it happen there with the 88 of Daniel Wiles. And like you said, this is a race of endurance tonight, while not the style of endurance racing here. As we see Daniel Wiles back to the inside here of the 39. Tucker down on the bottom, gets great momentum and carries more speed off the corner. This looks like Tucker used up too much early.
The other Tucker going to go by. Dalton Tucker makes that pass on Joseph Tucker. Puts the 39 car down into 6th position. Sean Boundy will be next up to try and pounce, with Eddie Rose getting in the outside wall there. And Zach Lindgren sitting 3 seconds back of these drivers. You can see him come off the corner now. He's in the background with Jared Bashan in tow and Jeremy Brown. So those 3, all from the same team, Elite Motorsports, they are approaching. Well, I say approaching. Maybe approaching. We'll see if Lindgren can run them down, but they have broken into the top 10 anyway.
Well, have you ever wondered why the Darlington stripe is so significant and so well known? It's because, well, half of our drivers would have gotten one tonight, as we've seen them in the wall. Joseph Tucker back there getting loose out of turn 2. As we look here up ahead, this is Adam Benefiel. Just got past Kevin West, like you said, on the hunt for Zach Millett, just under 1 second now, bordering around that 1 second mark between first and second here tonight.
Early this season, Zach Millett was the championship favorite. He got those couple of wins early, amounted up to 3 wins total, and it looked like he was the favorite, the lock to win this championship that early in the season. Well, things have changed. I think for sure right now, the 83 car, Adam Benefiel, is the driver to beat here in the SimRat Market Series. He's just so good every single week. It doesn't matter where you take him. He has always got speed. The Team Conti racing driver has, I think, got to be a lock right now and everybody's number 1 seed for the championship. He might not be the number 1 seed going into the playoffs just because of how many points Millett has from early in the season. But Benefiel, I think, once we get there and even these guys back out, is far and away the favorite.
It's that beautiful comeback story that everybody loves. I mean, he was down and out early on in this season. We knew he was fast, but just couldn't quite find his form. Was also having some problems there in the mid-pack, as it can get very dangerous. But once he was able to find his way to the front, he has stayed up front and stayed extremely consistent. Right now, that gap now under half a second in only the past 3 laps. He is faster than Millett.
You'll notice as well a manufacturer change for Zach Millett, moving over to Chevrolet this week from Ford last year. So a change there for Millett. We'll see if it brings him luck or not. So far, it's brought him the race lead, but an approaching Adam Benefield. And Benefield, I think, is going to get there certainly by lap 50 and make this pass. Possibly even by their first green flag pit stops of the night. Now, these guys, we were told, can run about 45 to 48 laps on a tank. If you stretch that out a little bit without shifting, you might be able to get 50 laps and make this an even stop kind of race. And I think that's something you have to try and do.
Yeah, I think definitely Benefield will get to him before the green flag pit stops. As you see right now, continuing to gain, just has more grip. You'll see Millett is definitely going to let him by when that time comes. I think he just knows that he's faster. So you see Benefield just able to hold all that grip down on the bottom. Now he'll still have a run. They'll be side by side almost to turns 1 and 2, not just quite, but you can see how much grip Benefield has in that 83 machine.
This broadcast brought to you in part by Whiplash Simcams, ATVO, CC's Business, and Cody Williams Design as we watch the top 2 go at it. 3, 4, and 5 all battling in the background. But right now, it's Zach Millett and Adam Benefield, likely the 2 that you'll see battle for the championship in that 6-race playoff here later this year. Here they go, side by side on lap 40.
Benefield now to the inside of Millett. Millett backs out, knows he's faster. Down to the bottom goes Benefield. And now, the 83 car, Adam Benefield, to the race lead here on lap 41.
So pass made. First 40 laps were split between Joseph Tucker and Zach Millett. The rest of this race just might belong to the 83 car. He has looked unbeatable as of late. The only driver able to beat him recently, his name is Michael Conti.
Yeah, Conti, we know the pedigree of him. Back at Indianapolis, got that win. Daniel Wiles dives down to the bottom, tries to make a move on Kevin West, but gives up the position to Dalton Tucker.
Ooh, West in the wall hard. That's
Big
gonna move
hit.
the 0-1 all the way down the racetrack, and that's going to give up that 3rd position to Dalton Tucker. So Tucker racing up into the top 3 now, into a podium position. And that should make things a little bit easier now on Daniel Wiles to get by the 0-1.
2 positions in 1 lap for Dalton Tucker. Daniel Wiles backs out here in turn 2, turn 1, goes up to the wall, gaining momentum here out of turn 2. He'll have more speed down the back straightaway, but not quite enough to make a move here in turn 3. But next lap he will. Gets on the back bumper of West, getting in his mind, getting in his mirror, filling it up for sure. Now he'll have speed down here in the exit of turn 4, down to the inside. Wiles going to make the pass here in 1.
And Wiles has got it. He moves on through to the 4th position. Joseph Tucker has fallen back to 7th. Sean Bounty not far back. Jared Washon right behind him. Then Jeremy Brown, Russell Black, and Zach Lindgren has dropped back to 12th position from 9th. Dylan Cardenas is up to 13th. Matthew Taylor down to 14th. Gary Bowman runs in 15th. Matthew Montgomery runs in the 16th spot. Alfie Sharon Jr. runs 17th, Brian Ruiz 18th, Michael Moultrie 19th, and 2 cars are laps down. Andon Mendenhall has been in the pit lane for 7 minutes and gets back on the racetrack now with a repaired number 37 car. We miss what happened to him.
I imagine it was that earlier incident that we saw him kept going straight.
Yeah, likely.
So Andon Mendenhall 16 laps down, but still in this race. Gets into the wall here again in turns 1 and 2. But again, that can help a little bit when you hit it there, but not on exit for sure. Mendenhall started up in 15th, and he was running well until that incident out of turn 4. Gets the wall here again in 3.
Well, he's 16 laps down right now. I don't think he's worried too much about getting the wall a couple of times. He's just trying to make laps and get to the end of this race. Christian Light, by the way, right behind him, 2 laps down as we start to see some drivers pit.
And Millett coming into the pit lane. Oh, man, has to check up. A little bit sideways there for Millett. Almost comes in speeding. Might have been speeding. It was definitely close at the line for Zach Millett.
Montgomery
number
gonna
9.
leave the pit lane.
Many drivers deciding this is their time to come and make the stop. Brandon Ruiz, again, he's 182 points out right now of this playoff. But again, with a top 10 and good finishes tonight, Brandon Ruiz could do it. Matthew Taylor in the 44, the 08 of Gary Bowman, Alfie Sharon Jr., Michael Moultrie, all your drivers coming to pit lane.
Here comes Daniel Wiles along with the 46 of Eddie Rose, the 01 of Kevin West, the 27 of Jared Rashawn, the 85 of Zach Lindgren, and more all coming in at lap 48 of 250. There's Zach Lindgren and Dylan Cardenas. And here comes race leader Adam Benefiel. They couldn't make it to 50. That means they're going to have to short fill somewhere down the cycle.
Yeah, one pit stop is going to be short at some point. But that's going to be 4 required pit stops and maybe 5.
5.
So that only leaves you 1 extra set. That means if you have a mistake, you have a spin or anything like that, you might have to stay out. We haven't seen any cautions yet, and I imagine I'm gonna knock on my wooden desk real quick. I imagine we might not see too many cautions tonight, but if we do, you can't use too many extra sets because, again, you've only got 1.
You know who I think has got a race-winning strategy in the works?
Let me hear it.
This guy, Jeremy Brown, stretching the race out a little bit. He's going to have to stretch it a little bit more later on. But remember, they did have that 1 pace lap to burn a little bit of fuel early in this race. If he can stretch from here and make up an extra lap or 2 on these next couple of runs, if he might have something.
Well, I wonder if he's staying in 5th gear. Because if you stay in 5th gear, over the course of a run, you can save half a lap or so. You won't lose too much time. So I wonder if Brown is staying in 5th gear in the corners. Again, later on, we might see cars starting to clutch in and save fuel, and I wonder if Brown will try that as well, because fuel-saving strategy, honestly, that's what I'd be trying to do here tonight.
And we should be clear about the 1 extra set comment, because it can be confusing if you don't know what we mean. There we go. These guys have 6 change sets, but they're expected to make 5 pit stops. And Jeremy Brown, by the way, is being held in the pit lane. He's got a penalty. So strategy we were talking about out the window for the 07.
That's gonna be it for him.
Back to the race details here. 6 change sets, and hang on, Benefiel had the same thing.
I just saw him 1 lap down.
Benefiel with an extra 40 seconds in the box, a penalty for the 83 car. That is going to completely change this race.
Yeah, that's a speeding penalty. The only thing he's going to fix that is going to be a caution.
He's a lap down and behind Brian Ruisi and Christian Light, so a lot of work to do for the 83 car. He's had that happen at least once before, if not twice.
Tonight would at least be twice.
Yeah, this is self-inflicted. I mean, this is the kind of thing you have to manage if you want to win a championship. He's got the speed, we know that. This is the kind of thing you have to manage if you're Adam Benefiel. If you want to win this championship, he'll go by Jared Rashawn, who is up in 8th position. He's going to have to earn that lap back the hard way, I think. I don't see many cautions in our future. But to circle back around, finally, to the race details, we say they have 1 extra set. Truthfully, they have 6 extra sets, 6 change sets. We expect them to make 5 pit stops. That leaves 1 extra set in case of incident. So 5 of those sets will be used on pit stops guaranteed. That leaves 1 extra in case of a late race caution, in case of spinning, in case of something like that. So there is not much that these guys can do in terms of tire strategy. It's a very tight box to race within this evening.
Yeah, again, those mistakes will be amplified on a night like tonight. As we talked about Adam Benefiel, 1 lap down. He's the 4th driver 1 lap down right now. The first car that is lap down, I believe if my math is correct, which you know, sometimes it's not, is 11 seconds ahead of Adam Benefield. So he has to gain 11 seconds to be the car to get the lucky dog if a caution comes out, and that's a big if.
Here goes Dalton Tucker to the inside of Sean Boundy. This is for second spot. Daniel Wiles in the background runs in fourth. Kevin West runs in fifth. And that is a pass made for Dalton Tucker. Could we be talking about him going to victory lane this evening? Well, he's got 6.5 seconds to gain on that 31 car now.
A long time for Tucker. Started back in the fifth spot, excuse me. Been gaining time slowly past Wiles, past West. Sean Boundy up there now. He's up 7 spots from the beginning. But Dalton Tucker looking here tonight. We saw Dalton Tucker battling a lot early on in this season with Zach Millett, so we know he has the talent of a driver to be able to do it. Would he be able to do it tonight?
He's got to run that 31 car down. It all looks good for Zach Millett now. But we could see more issues on these pit stops. That could be the crutch of these guys. That could be what ends up biting them all, is pitting under green. We don't see that all that often. At least not here at Darlington. But so far, tonight has been clean and green for 58 laps. Well, 57, working on 58. Could that be what gets these guys? Pit stops. Pit stops, pit stops, pit stops here on Pit Stop TV.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that could go on. I mean, so many factors up in the air. You just want to have a clean race. I mean, if you can have a clean race, you are guaranteed to finish well here tonight. I want to thank all of our partners here, the SimRat Markets for the SimRat Market Series, Apex Sim Racing, IMB Racewear, Moser Racing, RS Button Boxes, Team Conti Sim Performance, TMB Track Bar Media with the Butt Kicker, as well as Extreme Graphics and Cyber Edge hosting. There are a lot of people that help this series continue on here that we get to bring you each and every Wednesday night.
Riding on board with Zach Millett here on lap 60 of 250. And we're watching Michael Moultrie and Jeremy Brown race back and forth. They are not racing for position. Moultrie hanging on to the back end of the lead lap, the 0-7, 1 lap down already. Brown could go a second lap down here to the 31 car, and he likely will at this point.
Yeah, I'm really wondering what happened to Moultrie early on, why he came down and stopped, because that's why he's back here. He would have started up in 7th, but since we've ran green this entire race so far, well, this is a result of that stoppage right before the race, and I'm really wondering why he did that.
The world may never know. I want to thank you, Scott, for being here this evening. It's been a pleasure joining you on the mic, and we've got a slow car. It's the 9 of Matthew Montgomery coming into the pit lane here.
Came into the pits not too long ago. Let's see, it was 16 laps ago. So this is an unscheduled pit stop for the number 9. We're going to see if it's some sort of penalty or something other. If he has damage, he doesn't look to have any damage. Looking all around right now, but this is definitely unscheduled.
Brendan Kennedy noticing in the YouTube chat that there are a few throwback paint schemes, as here comes the 9 of Matthew Montgomery into his box. We'll see if he goes up on rights and lefts and whatnot. This could be a play. This could be working the race in reverse, Scott, making sure he is good on that short fill.
Oh yeah, going ahead and doing it now.
No,
you're
he's
right.
actually done.
He gets out. That I wonder why.
I'd have just
He
had
was
enough.
on the lead lap.
I'd have just had enough. Might be calling it quits for the evening.
Well, there are a lot of laps left, just under 200 laps. That's a lot for your right and left foot and for your arms. I mean, look, people talk about it. Sim racing is not as easy as you might think. It is actual work behind the wheel, especially if you've got direct drive, hydraulic pedals and things like that. It is real work Not as hard as the atmosphere that you would in a real race car, but it is definitely some difficult work behind the sim.
Oh, one car down
Big
the racetrack.
moment. That was Eddie Rose.
Yeah, that is. The 46 car making his series debut this evening. He sorts things out, rides in the 6th position. We'll move back up to Daniel Wiles and Sean Boundy. This the battle for 3rd.
Wiles has been fast so far. Saw him on provisionary pole earlier on. Went down to 5th, but still had an excellent qualifying effort. Was fast in practice, but that 88 looking to again to minimize mistakes. We saw him earlier have one. Now goes to the inside of Sean Bounty here to make the pass for 3rd. Dives down to the bottom in turn 3, tries to carry that momentum, but Sean Bounty going to have a run on the outside. Wiles is going to let him go for now. No, they still stay side by side as Bounty a little loose on the exit.
There goes Wiles right on by the 34 car, and Kevin West is going to try and follow. Bounty putting up a fight here on the outside lane. It's going to be tight off the corner, and he makes it work. He will stay on the outside of Kevin West down the back straightaway into turn number 3, fighting for all he's got.
Wiles opens the door for West, but Bounty not giving it up just yet. Now he will. Backs off into the corner. That's Kevin West going up into 4th. Sean Bounty down to 5th. I just saw another driver dot down into the pit lane. I think it was the 29 of Moultrie. Yes, the 29 of Michael Moultrie is in the pit lane.
Oh, he's got a lot of right side damage.
Contact out of turn 2, possibly?
This could be, I think this is for a moment.
Oh, no.
Racing with Jeremy Brown right ahead of the race leader of Zach Millett. And Millett, by the way, has lost about his 2nd. Oh, wow. And this is why he lost that 2nd.
And that is very frustrating as a driver because they were not on the same lap. Moultrie was on the lead lap, about to be lapped by the leader, while Jeremy Brown was already a lap down, so this was not even a battle for position.
They kind of drove into each other, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think either driver did anything more wrong than the other.
Yeah.
Moultrie could have given more room, and Jeremy Brown kind of went straight into the corner. We'll watch this again. I mean, Brown is trying to give him all the room he can down on the apron, but that ends up shooting him straight up the racetrack.
Yeah.
And, you know, I actually went back and I've been watching a lot of old NASCAR races. And I say old NASCAR races, we're going to date ourselves here a little bit. I'm talking like 2008, 2007. That's old now, apparently. But I've been watching some throwback NASCAR races anyways on YouTube. And well, I went back and watched a 2008 race here at Darlington. It was that one that Kyle Busch ran that Indiana Jones paint scheme, and it was right after Richmond when Kyle Busch turned Dale Earnhardt Jr. Dale Earnhardt Jr. started from the front row. Anyways, I've got this ingrained in my brain now. Somewhere in the beginning of the broadcast, there was a moment with Elliott Sadler and Tony Stewart. Elliott Sadler tried to push it too wide into turn 1, and Darrell Waltrip said, "You never, ever want to push it too wide into turn 1," or something to that effect. Basically saying, it's always on that inside driver to back out and not cause that caution, not cause that crash. In the case of Elliott Sadler and Tony Stewart at Darlington, it was a full-on crash and caution. Here tonight for Michael Moultrie and Jeremy Brown, not a full-on caution, just a crash and moment for Michael Moultrie. Brown gets away scot-free, and Moultrie certainly will be not very happy with it, as his day likely is done. Alfie Sharon Jr. has just parked the car. He peels off. He's now 4 laps down. Moultrie's now out of the session. That makes it 3 cars now behind the wall. One of them 15 laps down. That is down in 21st spot. And in Mendenhall going to get these spots back.
Yeah, that's great. That's one reason that it's great to stay out. You're able to earn points. And Mendenhall has to stay in this race because he's currently only 23 points above the cut line. So every spot counts. You're wondering, why? Well, he's 15 laps down. Why wouldn't he leave? He could never make those back. Well, you see these other drivers having incidents, bowing out. Meanwhile, Andon Mendenhall, as he continues to run, will advance ahead of those drivers. That's why you stay. A lot of people bow out of the race early. That is why you stay in it, because it is never over until the checkered flag flies.
riding on board with Kevin West. We would be getting close to halfway, but we were surprised today, so we get some extra bonus racing. We are getting close to, I want to say we're around the third mark through this race. Let me do some more quick math on my other monitor here. 250 divided by 3.
Yeah, that is a third. Wait, I'm bad at math too.
Lap 83 is where it'll be a third mark in this race. We're approaching that third mark coming up soon.
Well, there we go. That'll be our third. Looking along here again with Kevin West, just 0.3 of a second back to third place of Daniel Wiles. His car's very stretched out here tonight as we've had. This is the most green flag laps I think I've ever seen in a sim race. Completely, entirely.
I've seen
serious.
a couple of races go flag to flag before, but
I have never.
This is definitely one of the cleaner races we've had on Pit Stop TV in a while. Last night at Nashville, the BRB Racing League had about, well, they were in the teens. I forget the final count of cautions. Tonight, a complete stark difference. Two very challenging racetracks, I gotta say, both a mile and a third thereabouts, because it was Nashville last night, Nashville Super Speedway. Now we're here at Darlington tonight, sitting just over a mile and a third, 1.36 miles in length. Two very challenging racetracks, and two very different kind of races so far. That said, the BRB Racing League, man, they had an extra 13 cars on the racetrack compared to what we got right now.
Yeah, they definitely had a lot more. Normally we have more tonight, but I think there was confusion within a lot of the league members after the postponement of last week's race. So I think it brought along some confusion to a lot of the normal runners that we see here in this series.
Gonna ride on board now with Joseph Tucker, trying to chase down Sean Boundy for what Tucker might have burned up earlier in this race. He's starting to rebound and catch up to that 34 Boundy. Looks to the inside there out of turn number 2. Nearly had an opportunity to go down to the inside. He's gonna wait for a better opportunity here. Looks low again. We got to shout somebody out here that has run inside the top 10 all night long. It's Eddie Rose, who runs in the 5th spot, making his first start with the series. We've seen Eddie Rose on Pit Stop TV in the past, in several other events, usually with the Noble Racing group. But this evening, Rose, running in 5th place behind Daniel Wiles and Kevin West, has been very impressive in his opening debut here with the SimRap Market Series, inside the top 5 right now at Darlington. I don't care the crop of drivers that you got. Doesn't matter who you're racing with. To be in the top 5 at Darlington like this is a feat in and of itself. It takes a lot to stay up here at Darlington, especially with no cautions for brakes. To just run it straight out like this, green flag the whole way so far, it wears on you as a driver. That goes back to that fatigue that Scott was talking about. It will wear on you to run green flag like this lap after lap after lap and have no brakes.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, it's really impressive by Eddie Rose to be running where he is right now. Running down right now. This is Adam Benefield here in the back. He's a lap down already. And just unable to do that right.
Is Rose approaching Benefield or Benefield leaving Rose?
Oh, well, that's a good point. Let's see who's running. Let me look at the lap times real quick. Benefield currently running a 30.082. Eddie Rose running a 30.086. So currently almost the exact same lap time.
One car down low, that's the 37 of Andon Mendenhall. He's coming in for service, it looks like, and this would not be the first time we see him pit unscheduled.
Well, he's down. This is...
Well, you know what? He's run 45 laps since re-entering the racetrack, so this is right on target for his new fuel number.
Yeah, I wonder if this will trick any other drivers to maybe come in. Maybe they might think he's a lead lap car.
I mean, truthfully, they could, and they wouldn't lose much. If anything, they would keep themselves from running on old tires for just a little bit longer.
I know a lot of drivers are probably looking at their numbers, but you never know. Someone might think, oh, and just see, not check.
So Mendenhall into the box. He'll take service. Meanwhile, we go back up to Daniel Wiles, trying to run down the 0-1 of Kevin West. This is the gap between the two.
Yeah, not much. Still about the same. Oh, man, I was just looking along. Eddie Rose gets in the wall just a little bit. But, again, looking back up here, this gap is about the same. Daniel Wiles and Kevin West now lengthens just to a little bit, almost 0.4 of a second, but still relatively the same between this 4th and 3rd place position.
Lap 86 here of 250. We've still got a while. A while to go. We might have to bring up a, we've got time here, Scott. You may as well come up with a couple of trivia questions because we've got the time for it.
Yeah. You know what? Let me get to looking.
Well, while he does that, I want to take a look at what's upcoming for us at Pit Stop TV. Tomorrow night, we head out to Slinger Speedway with the Sim Auto Racing Association Pierce Fleet Service Super Series. That'll be at 9:45 Eastern, so about an hour from now tomorrow. And that'll be the 6th race of 11 on the season. Then on Tuesday, a week from yesterday, January 21st, we go to Chicagoland Speedway with the BRB Racing League Butt Kicker Cup Series. That should be a bunch of fun. That'll be race number, 8 for the BRB Racing League this season in their 18-race schedule. Before we go to Pocono Raceway, I won't be here next week. It'll be Zach Murtis and Scott Shive joining you on the call for Pocono Raceway as things stand. I won't be here next week. We'll have an interim producer and everything. But Pocono Raceway next up for these SimRap market drivers on January the 22nd. That'll be a certain birthday around Pit Stop TV HQ, so we won't be here, well, I won't be here that evening, but we'll have the broadcast slated for you anyway. You can catch all these broadcasts and more on our social media channels down below. Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, and X. Take that in, search us up, give us a like, a follow, a subscribe. Do what you can do.
I'm trying to find some goofy facts here. It's so difficult with the internet nowadays. You can find almost anything, but if I can find it, it means other people can find it.
Now, it's a valid point. It's a very valid point. We're coming up on the new mark for these guys to pit. Brian Ruisi down the pit lane. He is now exited. Christian Light will do the same. I want to give a shout out to those who help us here at Pit Stop TV, Whiplash SimCams, ATVO, CC's Business, and Cody Williams Design. Jared Wishon has just about run down Joseph Tucker. This is for 6th position.
Yeah, Joseph Tucker had problems after that initial start, just used up a lot there in that first run, and now just a little bit slower. Right now, lap times between them, Tucker is 0.2 slower than that of the 27 car.
Wishon dropping down to 4th gear here. But I don't know that I heard him shift up down the back stretch. He might have stayed in 4th gear all the way down the back.
Oh, okay. I might have a trivia question here. Oh, wait. Oh, is now the time? When do you want it?
Let's leave these guys in suspense, and we'll talk about it right after this pit cycle.
Excellent.
As we're going to see some pit stops. Zach Millett down to the pit lane.
Millett first in from first place. So bringing the call to bring everyone in. A lot of people over the radio right now notifying Kevin West, Dalton Tucker, and others getting ready to bring it into the pit lane.
Here comes Tucker.
It's a difficult pit lane to find, and while we saw many speeding penalties
he was speeding
earlier on, that was fast for Tucker. He was in second gear when he came across the line.
Oh, crashing! Cautions out, Joseph Tucker and Christian Light.
First caution of the night, and it comes in the middle of the pit cycle. The worst time.
Christian Light had some troubles earlier in this race. He was already about 3 laps down. Was on some new tires here. Trying to move through the field. And he's going to get loose here off of turn number 4, right there, and come down the racetrack across the nose of the 39 car. So Christian Light just losing it all on his own.
Yeah, Light he'd been running smoothly all day.
This is going to completely change this race. Don't know who's going to be where as a result.
Yeah, it's going to... man. What is it? Let's see who's a lap down right now. Trying to look through the charts right now. It doesn't look like... Zach Millett's on the lead lap. Some of those others that came into the pit as well. So I don't think it'll change up too much here. But if Millett had gone down a lap down, that'd have been critical.
There you see the 96 of Light. Letting timing and scoring catch up. It's going to be a wave around for Adam Benefiel, so this saves the 83 car. And that is why this whole race has changed.
Yeah, that is huge for the driver of the 83. We saw a speeding penalty early on. No penalty for Dalton Tucker right now, at least we don't know of. I believe you have to serve that speeding penalty under green. So we'll know when we come back to the green. But this is huge for Benefiel.
Dalton Tucker's going to be the race leader after all of this. Sean Boundy gets caught a lap down, it looks like, so he'll get the wave by. Boundy had just pitted. The new order, everybody, is going to be Dalton Tucker, Kevin West, Daniel Wiles, Zach Millett, Eddie Rose, Jared Wishon, Russell Black, Zach Lindgren, Dylan Cardenas, and Adam Benefiel in 10th position. Benefiel still has to make his pit stop. And then he will go to the rear of the line. But he actually may not restart 10th.
Yeah, they got him double filed up right now, but the lights are still... They're off on the pace car, so we're going green this lap. He might go a lap down. I don't know. They're on the back straightaway right now, entering turn 3. He's going to get out of the pit lane, but he's going to be about middle of the track before when they go green.
There goes Benefiel. Tucker exits turn number 4. This is going to be closed for Benefiel. He is likely going to restart some part of a lap down, but here we go. Dalton Tucker, Kevin West into the Geico restart zone and back. Green flag racing at Darlington. Down the Boeing Max stretch. First side-by-side, Zach Lindgren and Eddie Rose. Lindgren grabs the spot. Rose falls back.
Rose trying to carry momentum out of turn 4 here. Won't be able to do it from the bottom, so that's Lindgren up a spot from the restart. Had some great speed in turn 2 and carried it down the back straightaway to make the pass on Eddie Rose. Single file, mostly through the top 10. This is up top. Dalton Tucker is now in the lead, but Millett from 4th on the restart, now into 2nd. Car loose in the back. That's Cardenas.
Cardenas hangs on. We keep racing. Here we go, approaching lap 100. Dalton Tucker is going to lead us on to that 100th lap. Kevin West runs in 3rd spot. Daniel Wiles in 4th. Jared Wishon cracks the top 5. We're on lap 100 of 250.
Oh, Brian Rose, huge moment. Same with Russell Black behind.
Eddie Rose just hangs on. Russell Black down the racetrack as well. Sean Boundy runs back here in the 9th spot. Matthew Taylor in 10th. Adam Benefield, by the way, about 8 seconds behind the race leader, running just out of turn number 4 now, and in the 13th position, so a lot of work to be done.
Yeah, 8 seconds behind the leader, under 4 seconds back to the 12th place position of the 44, Matthew Taylor. Taylor having some issues on this restart, started up in the top 8, now down to 12, so not able to hang on for that number 44 machine.
I want to recap the weather conditions for this race. The track temp has actually floated back up a degree. Air temp at 74.1 degrees in the air. Track temp sitting at now 78 degrees. So we thought the track temp would drop. We thought the race would get cooler as this race went on, but it has actually kind of stalled out right about 77, 78 degrees Fahrenheit.
Interesting. I thought it would have kept dropping.
We shall see as the race goes on. Up front, your top two are racing nose to tail. Dalton Tucker, Zach Millett. And this brings
Millett.
Tucker back into the race. He was some 6 seconds back of Zach Millett before the caution. So this completely flips the top two anyway.
Yeah, he was. Millett was, I mean, he was checked out for sure. As you can see, Millett pretty fast right now. Dalton Tucker has a bit of a moment with the wall there in turn one. This is Millett's going to have a run down the back straightaway. Not quite enough to make a move, but he's still advancing slowly but surely on the back of that 21.
I want to float back around to the series schedule here. Next week, Pocono, 80 laps. Richmond, 200 laps. A couple of interesting races coming up. A little bit shorter at Pocono. A little bit shorter at Richmond. But from a 1.3 mile intermediate track here at Darlington to a 2.5 mile speedway at Pocono to a 3/4 mile short track at Richmond. Three very diverse races. We're going to see, I think, maybe even 3 different winners these next 3 weeks. Or these 3 weeks before the playoffs. And then who knows what could happen when we go to Gateway. That's such a different track in its own right. It could be anybody's race.
Yeah, this schedule made to be challenging for a reason. Only the best have risen to the top of so many different types of disciplines that we've gone to so far, at least in terms of the styles of tracks through this regular season. It stays the same challenge into the playoffs, like you said, with Gateway, Miami, Talladega, Sonoma, Kansas, and Auto Club. I mean, it is, again, the champion will be crowned, and the driver that competes the best in those 6 races in the playoffs deserves to be champion. As we got a battle for the lead right now.
Perfect time to join back up with these two. Zach Millett to the inside of Dalton Tucker. Pass is made.
Tucker going to let it go pretty easy. Knows the speed and the strength of Millett. Millett scrapes the wall just a little bit, but again, that'll help you turn sometime when you just get it just enough like Millett did. Again, you got to be careful with that, but Millett been the man bad fast tonight, and Dalton Tucker knows it.
Gotta say, Adam Benefield is starting to run these guys down just a little bit. It's now 7.5 seconds between himself and the race leader. So closing a little bit is that 83 car. It's going to take a whole race now to get back into it, though. And how about this fight? Sean Bounty, Dylan Cardenas.
Yeah, Bounty earlier was running up in the top 5. Now he's back in 9th, and Dylan Cardenas had some problems. He's been here in the mid-pack, but has been working forward slowly but surely in that 12 American-themed car. Right now, run to the inside, great speed out of 4. He'll dive to the inside here in 1 and 2, and Bounty will let him go. It's a pass. Bounty back to 10th. Cardenas up to 9th.
Russell Black ahead up in the 8th spot. Eddie Rose up in 7th, trying to chase back down the 85 of Zach Lindgren.
Yeah, him and Lindgren have been, they have been next to each other all night long here in this race. I mean, Lindgren has come through the field 11 spots up from the start of this race. He was back, he started 17th, and he's up in that 6th position. And Eddie Rose has been around him all night long. You see Rose get the wall just a little bit yet again. Great camera view here from the spoiler. You see how close they get to the wall everywhere on this track.
Runs the low line down in 3 and 4. We'll stay on board with Brian Rose, or Eddie Rose rather. There's a couple of Roses in that Track Bar Media group, I believe. Brian and Eddie Rose, but Eddie here this evening. On board with him through 1 and 2. You see how close they get up to the outside wall there in the center of the corner, and then they dip back down. And he chooses to run the bottom down in 3 and 4 again.
Yeah, it looks like that might be what is working for him right now, running a 29.8. But Lindgren currently running a 29.7. So Lindgren just a little bit faster, starting to move away from that of Eddie Rose.
Meanwhile, up front, these guys are starting to tighten up a little bit. Zach Millett, Dalton Tucker to Kevin West, the top 3 about equidistant. Daniel Weil is not far back either. And they're caught behind the 96 of Christian Light. This is dirty air for race leader Zach Millett.
Yeah, Millett's car will be driving not the way he loves. Comes close to the 96 of Christian Light. Light goes high up on the track. Oh, Light into the wall out of turn 4. Kevin West has to jerk his wheel to the left to avoid it.
Daniel Wiles makes it by, or at least is trying to. Light back in the wall. Jared Rashawn now going to try to look and get by that 96 car.
Rashawn will look here to the inside of turn 3, trying to pass this lap down car of Christian Light. He'll do it with ease. Rashawn still running in 5th, then Lindgren, then Rose.
Lap 118 now, 250. Tucker and West starting to race for 2nd place. Oh, Christian Light in the background again.
Oh my goodness.
All over the place out of turn 2.
And he is pushing for everything he is worth right now. Just not quite able to hold on to it. As you see him lagging out of the session just a little bit. This is back up towards the front. Dalton Tucker, Kevin West, 2nd and 3rd right now. But as they begin to start this battle, that leaves Millett a lot of free air to get away, especially since Christian Light is now out of the way from in front. Millett is up to a 6/10 of a second lead, now down to 5/10. But it's going to be back and gaining, especially as Tucker and West come here to battle it out. Big contact there. Yeah, Kevin West sending up the inside. Wasn't quite able to hold it all the way on the bottom. Luckily for him, he was able to save it. I couldn't believe that wasn't a crack between the two of them. That's a lot of time lost for Kevin West. We'll take a replay back at that action. West had a great run out of turn number 4. This is a lap before, so we'll continue to watch, or excuse me, this is in 3 and 4. So West gets a great run here, pops to the inside here on the front straightaway, side by side, down the front, and dives down on the bottom, but can't quite hold it, drifts up front, makes contact, gets loose, somehow saves it.
And that drops the 0-1 back into the clutches of the 88 car of Daniel Wiles. They'll work down the front stretch now. Jared Rashawn in 5th, Zach Lindgren 6th, Eddie Rose in 7th. As we approach the halfway mark this evening. Here's the onboard with Daniel Wiles.
Yeah, Wiles been running extremely solid tonight so far. Been very consistent. We've seen very minimal mistakes from him. And that's the one thing we mentioned, Andrew, that is key to tonight, and especially such a long race at such a difficult place like this. Minimizing those mistakes. Daniel Wiles has done it. One of the best on track. I think obviously the best has been Zach Millett as he continues out front. But Wiles been right behind him in minimizing those mistakes, because again, we're almost coming to the halfway point. We still have 126 laps to go in this race. That's a lot of time for things to go on and mistakes to be made. But Daniel Wiles, one of the drivers to be minimizing those, at least through the first half.
Continuing to ride on board with Daniel Wiles. Not much changing right now. But here we go. To the outside he goes. West will give that spot up, and they are teammates over America Racing, so that is a pass made by the 88 car on the 0-1 of Kevin West. Wiles now into the top 3.
Yeah, West times on the board just a little bit slower. That lap extremely slower. The lap he ran a 30.4, and Wiles ran a 29.9. So almost half a second there between the two. Back here, this is still Eddie Rose and Lindgren, Zach Lindgren, continuing to battle it out right next to each other. I mean, I don't think there's been a moment where they've been more than a second between the two of them.
Well, that will conclude the first half of this race. 125 laps complete, 125 laps to go. So cross flags at the flag stand the last time by. I want to fall back in the field just a little bit. Gary Bowman and Matthew Taylor will fight back here. This is for the 11th position on the racetrack. Benefield has made his way by these guys, and Benefield now down to 6.5 seconds between himself and race leader Zach Millett. So he is continuously working through this field methodically. And while he continues to do that, we're going to go Pit Stop TV side by side and rejoin you here shortly. Don't go anywhere, more racing on the way.
A new wave has formed for Season 2, an epic tour that ends with a new legacy. The OGs are back, ready to defend their legacy, while fresh meat joins the competition, eager to make their mark. Who is willing to battle door-to-door and conquer 2024? Buckle up, because the season of a lifetime is among us.
Here we go. Who's going to get the better restart?
Steve, look at all this action as we come on lap 100.
Second. Gonna go around. This could be the big one.
Hey, four wide in Texas. Todd falls back. Bacon, there's another bump. There's another hit. Cox into Miranda. Tate's gonna steal one here in Nashville. Are you kidding me?
Welcome back to the virtual Darlington Raceway. We're about to see pit stops happen from our leaders. Here goes Zach Millett peeling off to the pit lane right as we come back in a three-way battle for the race lead with Daniel Wiles and Kevin West. Millett will pit, Wiles will stay out, West will stay out, and they are just hanging on by the seat of their pants as they come flying off the corner. These guys have a little over 100 laps to go. This pit stop leaves them a little bit shy of where they need to be to make it on 2 stops to the end. So this will be a short fill race again, just like earlier. Thanks for being with us here at Pit Stop TV this evening. More pit stops. Here comes Wiles, here comes West.
Yeah, it looks like Wiles either didn't know Millett was coming or was not going to give an inch to West right behind him. That was almost a moment. It looks like him and Wiles might have had the tiniest bit of contact as Millett pulled down to come into the pit lane. That was a lap ago. Now Wiles and West here coming to the pit lane. Zach Lindgren assumes the lead of this race, but will definitely come into the pit lane in the next lap or so. He is almost out of fuel.
And here he comes right here. Lap 144. The 85 will peel on down and come down to the pit lane. Watch that speed coming in. Trying to get it down. That, I don't know.
Yeah, that was, I don't know. He looked like he was going about 60.
I think the speed number that we get lags a little bit behind. Just a little bit late.
Okay.
But, I don't know. That was close for Zach Lindgren.
That was close. We'll have to see how it all plays out. We thought it was close earlier for Dalton Tucker, and it all worked out for him. So we'll have to see how all that works out. Wait, actually, Dalton Tucker's a lap down right now. Not near Zach Millett.
Well, he actually pitted early, and wouldn't you know it, pit penalty.
That's what I thought.
He pitted during that side-by-side break for us. And I'm glad you reminded me of it, because that is a very big moment for Dalton Tucker. He was running up front, decided to pit early as soon as he started to get passed up, and ended up getting himself a pit penalty. An extra 40 seconds in the box. Lindgren, by the way, no penalty.
Yeah, it looks like Brian Reese had something similar happen, pitted 14 laps ago, and he's 5 laps down, was on the lead lap earlier, as we continue to see lead lap cars come here into the pit lane. 14 cars on the lead lap in this race. Matthew Taylor, the 44 there. This is the 39 of Joseph Tucker.
Tucker into his box. This will make Sean Boundy the next car on the racetrack that has not yet pitted. He is about to get passed up by Zach Millett. This will be for the race lead. Boundy pitted 23, now 24 laps ago. So he pitted early, and it might work out for him.
Well, it might work out for him, especially if we don't get a caution. That will leave him with, it should be 2 more pit stops, which I imagine most people won't be able to make it on 1 more pit stop. So you're going to probably have to make 2. If you want to make it under that, you're going to have to save about 5-6 laps of fuel, and that's with no green, white, checkered attempts. You're going to have to save 6 laps. That's a lot.
Wiles straight on by Bounty. And yeah, there's no saving fuel at this point. This is just a run it straight out and pit when you need to kind of thing. And you can strategize a little bit when you want to come in and take that fuel, but there is no saving here.
Yeah, almost a 1.5 difference in the speed between those who have pitted and Bounty out there having pitted 25 laps ago. That's a significant difference in speed.
Well, we talked earlier about a trivia question. It's about time we do it. About 100 laps to go. We were going to about 50 laps ago, and then everything kind of went haywire for a little bit. Then we went to a side-by-side break. So, Scott, I'll give you the floor, and we will break out that trivia question.
Well, I looked up some stuff, tried to find a site that maybe nobody could find. We never know. And here's the question. What is the nickname of the part of the state that Darlington Raceway is located in? And this may be difficult. I'm going to base it here off the website I've got. And so we'll see how the answers fly in and how they line out. But that is your question.
Well, there you go. It is pinned in the YouTube chat. I have a couple of guesses, so I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah, I mean, I just went searching down the line, trying to find something obscure. As all of you that have heard my questions before know, I try to find something obscure by the track. I thought about doing something with college football, but it's hard to broadcast and research. I'm not good at multitasking. I am not good at that. I have ADHD. I have to stay focused. So it's the race for me, so I knew I could find something about the track fairly easily.
Well, after all things settle out and cycle out, Adam Benefield ends up 6.5 seconds back of Zach Millett and right behind Zach Lindgren. This will be for 6th position if he can get by Lindgren. Sean Bounty up the road to be for 5th. Inside now, 100 to go.
It's still a lot of laps for these drivers. We mentioned it a few times before, minimizing mistakes, and it doesn't stop now. Benefield made a mistake earlier, has been coming back from it ever since, and you can see how it affected him. Oh, Brian Reese in the way. Contact between Lindgren and Benefield. This is going to give Benefield the spot. Lindgren is going to be slow down the back straightaway. It might open the door here for Eddie Rose as well.
And there goes Rose right on by Lindgren, so 2-for-1 special. Lindgren falls back now to 8th position. He was 6th. Benefield moves up to 6th spot. And will chase down Sean Bounty now. And he will get right up to that Bounty machine and go to the inside for turn 1 and make that pass. So in the last lap and a little bit, it's been 2 positions still for Benefield. Had to correct my math there before I sounded completely wrong, but still. Big time moves, and now Lindgren looks up at Bounty. Rose goes on by. And Bounty will relinquish that spot. You see Andon Mendenhall down on the flat. He goes 21 laps down. Christian Light is out of this race. And Dalton Tucker has called it a day. That leaves us with 16 cars on the racetrack. Attrition has set in. Well, Zach Millett is out to a 2.7 second race lead. We know he's got speed. He should win this thing unless something goes terribly wrong or unless Out of Benefield can make up that 7-second deficit. Now, something could still go terribly wrong for the 31 car. We could get a caution, and this could change things up again. But right now, if this race continues on at this pace, Millett has got it wrapped up.
Yeah, Millett, I hesitate to use the words wrapped up with so many laps, but I know what you mean. Millett, I mean, he has been practically perfect all day long. We know Millett has had the string 3 wins on the season. He has had a bit of a dry spell here in the past couple races. He's always been up towards the top, but hasn't quite been able to get that win as of recent. Benefield has come into form, but with Benefield's mistake, it has opened the door for Zach Millett today, and he has not yet had a slip-up.
You know why I don't hesitate to use the word wrapped up?
Why?
Because I am the bringer of chaos, Scott. I wouldn't mind to see a little bit. Anyway, Sean Boundy has dropped 3 seconds behind Lindgren, Rose, and Benefield. That shows you the difference in tires.
It does. Well, and as he continues to run, his tires continue to progressively get worse and worse and worse. So Boundy has fallen and fallen fast as he's trying to play a different strategy, throw something to the wind to try to get something to catch. Because before he was out of it. Why not? I like the move. I like trying something different. You know that if you run it out the same as everyone else does, you're going to finish probably where you're at, even if you don't make a mistake. But if you try something out, you never know. You might finish a little worse. You might win. Sean Boundy, I love it.
It's worth trying something different for sure, especially here at Darlington with these long green flag laps. It's worth trying something, getting off cycle at the very least, especially when you're already kind of just in that groove of just running laps and kind of being stuck, not really able to pass. It's worth trying something. By the way, this fog is still around here at the Speedway. If you look here on the scenic cameras that we've got, you can tell it's still foggy out there, but not really impacting the race too much, just makes the camera angles look a little bit murky. And gotta say, there has been a problem for the 12 of Dylan Cardenas at some point. He has got some left side damage. He is 3 laps down. If I had to theorize, I would say he made an unscheduled stop for damage and or he had a pit penalty.
Yeah. I imagine that's got to be some kind of damage because you can get out 1 lap down on a speeding penalty, but being 3, I imagine he had to sit in for some damage repair. So might have smacked the wall harder than he would have wanted to on the exit of either turn 2 or turn 4 and had to go in and fix some damage.
It's been a night of problems just randomly throughout the field. A lot of issues. Cars coming in for random pit stops here and there. Cars making mistakes on pit lane, or drivers making mistakes on pit lane.
I was going to say Joseph Tucker was one of those, and I think Matthew Taylor suffered to it as well. We saw them both pitting in at the same time. Well, they both are a lap down, and looks like last time they were in the pit lane, it was 4.14 seconds. So I wanted to say they had a speeding penalty, but now that I say that, I'm not sure. But I know they're a lap down. I know that for sure.
Well, the laps continue to click off here at Darlington Raceway. While they do so, let's take a look at what's upcoming for us at Pit Stop TV. Next up, we go to Slinger Speedway with the Sim Auto Racing Association Pierce Fleet Service Super Series. That's a mouthful. We just call it the Sarah Super Series. We'll be going there tomorrow night, January 16th. 150 laps, I believe, the race distance. Then Tuesday, it'll be the Chicagoland Speedway for the BRB Racing League Butt Kicker Cup Series. Should be a lot of fun. Race number 8 for them in 18. They're in that mid-season form as well. Had a tumultuous race at Nashville last night. That'd be worth going back and watching. And then next Wednesday, it's out to Pocono Raceway here at the Simrat Market Series. Should be a whole bunch of fun. I really like Pocono. I'm sad I'll be missing it.
I've never done something to Pocono.
Really, it makes for some
Nope,
good
never.
racing. It's always an interesting strategy race. 80 laps there should be a lot of fun. It's always a more interesting race there at Pocono Raceway.
Well, I'm definitely excited. I will get to have the pleasure of being able to be there, so it's going to be awesome. We got a lot of awesome things coming up here at Pit Stop. You can catch it all the updates and our viewership things at pitstoptv.com, our website, or on our Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, and of course X/Twitter. You can catch it all and everything we've got up and coming.
I want to give a shout out to those who make it happen for us with the series. Scott, you did this pretty well earlier. I'll give you the floor.
Well, we want to give a huge thanks to, obviously, SimRapMarket.com, Apex Sim Racing, IMB Racewear, Moser Racing, RS Button Boxes, Team Conti Sim Performance, Track Bar Media, The Butt Kicker, Extreme Graphics, and always Cyber Edge Hosting. We want to thank all of our partners here at Pit Stop TV and with the SimRap Market Series and No Limit Racing that help us get it all here, as well as our series partners here at Pit Stop, Whiplash Simcams, ATVO, CC's Business, and Cody Williams Design.
And that trivia question, by the way, is still up for grabs. The question, by the way, what is the nickname of the part of the state of South Carolina that Darlington Raceway is located in? So that might help you. If you didn't know, maybe I'm giving part of it away, I don't know. But Darlington Raceway located in South Carolina. We said that earlier with the track map. So what is the part of the state of South Carolina that Darlington Raceway is located in?
Yeah. And again, it could be a little difficult because it's just based off of this one source that I found. I know what some of you are searching up in the chat. I know you're searching the question because I saw some of your answers finding around. We'll have to see if any of those are correct. If we get down a little bit more farther into this race, if no one has the answer by lap 250, I will try to give an accurate hint. And if we get to 225 and still no one has it, I will give you the name of the website where I found it.
Battle here, Daniel Wiles, Kevin West, right behind Joseph Tucker, who's a lap down. Tucker holding them up just a little bit. Just allowing West a chance to maybe go by. I mean, these three are all teammates over at America Racing, so I wonder what it's like right now in their voice channel. Daniel, of course, I'm sure wants to hang on to second. West would love second. And Joseph, being a lap down, wonder how much he's being told to get out of the way.
Yeah, probably a good bit. I definitely don't want to slow down that of the 88. Now it's going to open the door for Kevin West to make a move on Wiles. Wiles will try to hold it on the outside, but won't be able to. That'll give Kevin West the position, but Wiles might have a run here down the front stretch. Got a little bit of speed, but Tucker is in the way of West.
So Joseph Tucker moves up and will let out of the gas and let these two go by down in turns 1 and 2 now. So good move there, but it does change the guard of second and third place. It puts West out into second, Wiles into third. How about Jared Wishon, right on the cusp of the top 3 this evening? He's got Adam Benefiel approaching, so that will likely put him 1 spot down the order. Benefiel now 5.5 seconds back of Zach Millett, closing in. But I gotta say, a top 5 run like this out of Jared Wishon was not on my bingo card for today. This has been a really solid day for him.
Yeah, I mean, this is absolutely what he is looking for, a solid day, and honestly, more than solid. This is a great performance, especially running in the top 5. He's, again, we talked about it, these are some critical races for him as we come up to the playoffs. He's only 20 points in. He's the last driver in the playoff field right now as he has a moment out of turn 2. He needs every point he can get, as you see him down there in 12, but he needs every point he can get, and a top 5 would accumulate him a lot of points here tonight, especially with Mendenhall, Alfie Sharon Jr., Joseph Tucker, all of them having problems. Michael Moultrie, Quentin Lee not being here. So a lot of people up in these standings are having more problems than Washawn tonight.
Yeah, just highlighting a few of the drivers that are having issues there. Even Jeremy Brown, you could highlight there in 12th. He's having problems. And then on the other side of things, if you look at who's having a good night behind him, Kevin West is namely the guy who is outdoing him right now. So Kevin West in that 14th spot coming into tonight has been moving up, and that could knock Washawn out potentially. And here comes Benefiel in the background. He's going to go right to the inside of Washawn. Let me find my cursor here. And there will go the 83 car straight on by for the 4th position. That moves Washawn back to 5th. West runs in 2nd. Russell Black having a decent night. Gary Bowman, though, a little bit off. That should help on the cut line battle a little, but then Washawn should pass Mendenhall, might pass Alfie Sharon. It's going to be interesting to see where these different pieces of the puzzle fit into Pocono next week.
Yeah, I mean, those top 3 drivers out of the playoffs right now, I mean, they're all having great nights here so far. Obviously, we talked about Jared Washawn, but Kevin West right there running currently in 2nd. Then Russell Black currently running in 8th, and Gary Bowman down in 11th, but still almost a top 10. These are great nights for these guys, and nights they have to have if they want any chance of making these playoffs.
Daniel Wiles has fallen back a little bit from Kevin West as we will actually hit. I would say we nearly, we have hit 70 laps to go. So getting into the back end of this race, one more pit stop coming up for these drivers at the very least. I think everybody needs to make 2 more.
Yeah, right now, most of them out 39, 38 laps since they last pitted. You know what I'm looking at right now? And I don't think it'll matter because they're a lap down. I think a caution would ruin it. Yeah, that eliminates that strategy. Russell Black right now, Russell Black and Zach Lindgren, they're 2 guys I'm going to look at right at this moment. 37 laps ago they pitted. Zach Millett pitted 40 laps ago, everyone else 39 laps ago. So they have 2 to 3 more laps of fuel than Zach Millett. Could one of them maybe stretch it and maybe make this a one-stop race? We'll have to see if they will play that strategy. We'll see how it comes here to the pit lane. But again, we'll have about 7 or so laps until these leaders might take the chance. Looking along here with Washawn, still right back in 5th. The 6/10 gap, almost 7/10 now to the back of Benefiel. Benefiel still driving away. And speaking of Benefiel, this goes back to those mistakes we talked about. If he had not had that speeding penalty, we saw him back when we started this green flag run. He was 8 seconds back to the back of Zach Millett. Well, now it's under 5 seconds. So if he would have started top 10 in the restart, only a second back on the initial restart, well, he'd be ahead of Zach Millett by now.
And if the mistake hadn't happened at all, just think, he could be lapping the field. Maybe not the whole field, but lapping up to like the top 5 or so. I mean, he could be on a tear. But that mistake happened under that first round of pit stops, and he fell back. And that's just been part of his day now moving forward. He is trying to run down Daniel Wiles. That would be for 3rd position, so we'll be talking to him, I think, for sure, at this point in time, no matter what. I think he's going to get at least into the top 3 at this rate, unless he has another speeding penalty, which is possible. These guys have to pit in the next 10 laps. I would say the next 5 laps even.
It's possible, but I think
usually
Benefiel
you learn
knows
from that kind of thing.
I was going to say, he knows there's no reason to, push extremely hard, but, when I say that, I think, he's got 3 wins. He's 200, almost 300 points above the cut line. I mean, he'd have to have a dramatic day to lose a lot of those points, but he's not locked in, but he's safe. I would use that word. And so you could play a gamble.
I wonder if it would be worth pitting early by a couple of laps. We saw Gary Bowman do it about 5 laps ago. 7 now. I wonder if it'd be worth it to pit a little bit early. I mean, Sean Boundy kind of is taking it to the extreme, pitting about 20 laps off sequence. He pitted some 14 laps ago. He's kind of taking it to the extreme level of getting off sequence, but I wonder if getting out by a couple of laps might help you.
Yeah, here's one thing I'm thinking about right now. Obviously, we've got a few more laps until we see most of our leaders probably start pitting. Well, here's what I'm wondering. Do you think drivers will run it out another 45 or so laps if we have, 55, 60 to go, or do you think they'll split it 30-30?
I think we'll see drivers running out, and that's because they can come in for a splash and dash and not get tires, potentially, or they can get 2. I really do think we're going to see them run it out. A couple of seasons ago, maybe, I would say, it's Benefiel and Washawn come in with 60 to go. A couple of years ago, maybe I'd say they'd split it, and I think they would have split it a couple of years ago, but lately it's been getting more and more down the line of running it out and being lighter on fuel. Being lighter on fuel matters more these days, it seems like, and that's kind of the sports car strategy. We see that a lot in the North American Racing League that we cover here on Pit Stop TV, where these guys will run, or those guys rather, will run all the way they can through a run, through a fuel cycle as more come in. We've got Adam Benefiel, Zach Millett, everybody coming in here. They will run as far as they can to be light on fuel and just take a short fill.
Yeah, see, I'm interested to see, because right now, part of my brain, obviously I agree with you that obviously the lighter fuel definitely does matter, but part of my brain is thinking about, if you go 30 and 30, there's more tire available to use. We've seen these laps all night long of them running 45, 48 laps or so, saving that tire, but you run 15 less, that's less tire that you have to save, more tire that you can use out on the racetrack.
Yes,
now,
and no.
Maybe some people in top 5 stay with that, run it out to the end. But what about Matthew Taylor? What about Adam? What about Daniel Wiles? Not Daniel Wiles. What about Eddie Rose?
Traditionally, I would agree. I think the thought now has transitioned to getting those 2 tires and saving those 5 seconds in the pit lane. You want to be in the pit lane as little as possible and handle it all on the racetrack.
Well, you make a good point, and I think you're right. I think that's what most drivers will do. But I'd love to see if someone would split it 30-30, just because I want to see how it plays out.
The other part is, if we do get a late race caution, you potentially lock yourself into being a couple of laps down for a little while on that ultimate strategy of coming in at 30. So if we get a caution in there somewhere that locks you a lap or 2 down, that could completely ruin your day.
Yeah. Well, you make a good point, and I really want someone to run 30-30 just because I want to see how it goes.
Here's Russell Black coming in a little bit later than the rest of the field. Joseph Tucker has cycled out a little bit. I say a little bit because he's still got a pit, but right now he is in 4th position. 3rd, actually, as Benefiel goes fastest, and Benefiel is going to go right on by and make it 4th for the 39 car.
Yeah, Joseph Tucker's staying out right now. Joseph Tucker will have to come here to the pit lane in just a moment.
Man, if we got a caution, though.
Yeah, I tried to stay out, tried to play some strategy, and I like that move. I like that call, trying to stay out. Tucker now getting passed up, comes to the pit lane. Matthew Taylor tried to stay out as well, and Jeremy Brown. All of them, no caution, so they'll have to come to pit lane as well.
Daniel Wiles had some problems getting on and off the pit lane, it looks like. He has dropped back of Kevin West by, 2 seconds or so. Benefiel now in between. Benefiel's 3rd. 4 seconds back of Zach Millett, so only 1 car to go through before he catches up to that 31 car. We could see Benefield go from the front to the back on a penalty and fly back through this field and win this race.
I mean, he is flying right now. Fastest laps of the race, 29:097. That is extremely fast. That is some of the fastest laps that we saw in a practice. So he is putting down heaters right now, not saving much tire at all, and running third. 1 second back to second place, Kevin West.
A 29:093, going even faster there. That's about a half-tenth faster than Zach Millett. No, that's about two tenths faster than Zach Millett. About a half-tenth faster than Millett's fastest lap.
Yeah, and that's, what is it? That's, 2 tenths faster than Kevin West as well. So Benefield right now 2 tenths faster than the 2 cars ahead of him. He can get West. That's definitely a possibility. But Millett, that's another 4 seconds.
I think Millett and West both noticed because they each just ran identical lap times, a 29:117. They each just picked up a bunch. And I think they've noticed, sorry, a 177. But regardless, they've noticed, I think, that the 83 is coming.
Yeah, definitely. And that's one of the things, just looking at those charts, knowing who is running those fast laps from your iRacing spotter. But Adam Benefield looking to close the gap on these two and redeem himself from his mistake earlier on in the early portions of this race.
And that is Sean Boundy. These guys are approaching. Boundy? Hang on. Where is Sean Boundy on my order? That is Sean Boundy they're passing. Boundy is 9th. He's been on the racetrack 28 laps. He has gone well down the order. They get right on by Sean Boundy, who is now behind Gary Bowman and ahead of Russell Black. And this is the closest battle on the racetrack right here. We'll highlight it again with the bottom right graphic. This is the gap between Benefield and West. This is the closest fight on the racetrack currently.
Yeah, gap remaining pretty much the same. Benefield has slowed down dramatically here. He's running 29.5s now. Millett's running 29.3s, and Kevin West is running 29.4s. So a bit of a dramatic slow.
We'll see. I think this lap will be a lot better. He had to dodge Boundy a lap ago, and that slowed him down. This lap should be a lot better. Yeah, 29.32. That was better than West and Millett both.
Well, I told the viewers that I would give them a hint once we cross over in lap 200 if no one had gotten it right. And so I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to give you all the website. If I can even find the name. It's worldsportsnetwork.com, so WSN.com. That's where I found the answer. You've got 50 laps to go and find it.
Meanwhile, Benefield continues to try and run down Kevin West, and it has stagnated here. 3.7 seconds between Millett and Benefield. 3 between Millett and West. Things not changing much, and you see, well, now finally a 10th has been pulled. Benefield grabs a 10th here on West and starts to close in a little bit. Another 10th.
Slowly chipping away. That's one of the things Benefield is best at. Just slowly working, being patient. In the second half of this race, he has been nothing but patient. Working slowly and methodically on these cars ahead of him. And now he's, again, up to third and continues to work on Kevin West. He's got a lot of time to be able to get by him.
I want to thank everybody for tuning in this evening. I want to make sure you head over to our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, and X. Make sure to follow. We're all over social media. the one place, you know, and we're not going to get too far into the conversation about it, but but the one place we never got to that we were going to get to was TikTok. I mentioned it a couple of times back in the past, and you know, we're not going to get too much into the details of why TikTok is being banned, but if something changes, you'll find us on that platform, basically. If something does change. if things continue on the trajectory that we're on, we never will have gotten there. We did make an account to get onto TikTok, and then all the news released, basically, that it would be banned. So it's like, well, freeze. Don't go too far down that path, just in case. And sure enough, the way things look. But if something changes, we'll have to add an extra entry on here somewhere. And make sure TikTok is included or something like that. But anyways, just our 40 lap to go conversations. It's been a long night. It really has.
It has been here in the booth, but I'm glad to be here with you, Andrew. As always, it's always a pleasure to call races with you. Never a dull moment between us. As again, we continue to look at Adam Benefiel here, and I just can't continue to say how awesome it is to have watched him through this season. We've known all along that he's been a great driver, but just the challenges he had to overcome in the opening portion of this season, and to see him rise to the occasion, getting that first initial win of the season, and then continuing on in that dominance. I mean, besides that, the only people that came in and won besides him was the likes of Michael Conti, and that is a name that, I mean, not many people get to live up to. But Adam Benefiel is one of the ones that has absolutely brought it here in the past races so far here in the Simrat Market Series in this second season. He continues to go to show why he should be the championship favorite.
Yeah, so we've run 9 races so far this season. 3 of them have been won by Zach Millett. 3 have been won by Adam Benefiel. The other 3 races, Holden McGill at Daytona, Vicente Salas at Coda, and Michael Conti, Indianapolis. So, no offense to Holden McGill, but that was a complete wild card at Daytona. It was a road course at Coda where Vicente Salas showed up and dominated. And then it was Michael Conti, of all people, at Indianapolis showing up and showing out.
Benefiel came second, didn't he?
I believe so.
I think so, too.
Bounty in the pit lane, he's got some damage. Let's break out the replay and see if that was recent or not.
Yeah, I mean, those old tires, your car gets so loose here as we continue looking on for where this damage came from. But, I mean, you get those old tires, it is so easy to lose this car. I mean, it gets so slippery, especially as those tires continue to wear, as we continue to see if this was a recent incident for Bounty.
This is a couple of laps ago, and it looks like he's had that damage for a little while now. I wonder how that happened, if he got loose and got the inside wall, or if he got into somebody.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Regardless, he gets back on the racetrack here behind Kevin West, and that will be his final stop of the day. So we'll see where he cycles out on all of this, but right now he's 3 laps down, and it's not looking good.
Yeah, not looking good for Bounty. And again, tried to play a strategy, tried to do something different, and it didn't quite work out. I still love the effort to go out there and try something different. You've got nothing to lose here, and I love that he did it.
Our top 3 are all in the same straightaway now. Zach Millett, Kevin West, and Adam Benefiel, all within 3 seconds of each other. West is closing in on the 31 car. Millett just continues to run a little bit off pace right now, and I don't know why. I think he might be saving tires. And the reason I think that is he could take the short fill, take no tires, and try to get back on the racetrack as soon as possible, or just try to save the left sides for that little run to the end and abuse the right sides, come in and get 2 tires later on.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a good play. Also, Millett right here, being able to, he might be saving just the slightest bit. Obviously, West Benefiel coming just a little bit, but Millett might be saving just a little bit here for maybe the end of this run.
Time will tell. But that 83 continues to get closer and closer, dangerously close, I'd say. And Brendan Kennedy did notice some throwbacks. I think I talked about this earlier, maybe not, but there is a Mike Skinner throwback here on the 31 car. We saw one from Michael Moultrie earlier. He's already off the racetrack, but a Kevin Harvick throwback on that car. We also saw one for Endon Mendenhall, but he has peeled off the racetrack some 64 laps ago. Other throwbacks in the race, Kevin West has got one, a throwback to Mark Martin in that 0-1 car as he goes by, and I guess it could be a Joe Nemechek throwback even, as he races there a little bit with Sean Boundy. Gives a shot there to Boundy. Going to hold West up a lot. I know Boundy's on new tires and he wants to get going, but that really held the 0-1 up a bunch.
Yeah, lost a lot of time there to Adam Benefield and a lot of time to Millett. So Benefield now under 0.4 of a second between him and West. This battle has become more real as we've continued on. West now going to have to look in the mirrors. We see Daniel Wiles coming into the pit lane. He's going to split at 30-30.
He's going to split it. He is. He's going to take you up on it. Come in a little bit early and see what he can do.
Will this draw others?
This could be the meta this evening. We don't know yet. We're going to find out here really quick.
Yeah, this is me taking an absolute long shot. No one else over the radio right now talking about coming to the pit lane.
Benefield did.
Man,
Benefield did.
There we go. Benefield splitting this last segment in half. How will Millett respond? Or will he? Will he stay out? How will Kevin West respond? They're both out on the track right now.
You saw Benefield have to correct himself in the box just a little bit. He slid a little bit. It's not going to be much on the racetrack, but it will be a second or so. How is this going to change this race? There goes Benefield with a 2-tire stop, I think that was, wasn't it? Or am I missing something? Did I completely miss the left sides?
Hold on. We did that the other day at the butt kicker. Let me see. I'm going to look at his time. No, that was 4 tires.
Okay. I must have looked away for just that half second when the left sides were up in the air.
Well, we almost had a repeat like we did in Austria.
4 cars are in. West is in. You saw Washawn and Lindgren in.
So most people, a lot of people coming into the pit lane right now. Lindgren, like you said, West here is into his pit box. Perfectly slides in. Can't make mistakes at this portion of the race, Andrew.
I think this locks Zach Millett into running the extra laps here. Not the extra laps, but running long. And we'll see how it works out for him. Everybody else has pitted aside from Russell Black and Eddie Rose, who are each already a lap down. Rose actually has now pitted. Black has not yet.
So Zach Millett holding every car on this track a lap down.
Man,
he's got to be committed now.
If we got a caution, it would change things up entirely.
Man, I thought maybe one person would come and do it. I didn't think everybody. Here, Millett coming to the pit lane. Oh, I thought he was spinning there. He got sideways. I thought he was going around.
Just hangs on to the car and will make it into the pit lane a little bit late. I don't like this.
Yeah, he lost a good bit of time out there. I mean, that was what? Let me see. Oh, I'm looking up the field. Benefield came in 3 laps ago, and at the point they were at, that's about 0.8 of a second to a second lost a lap.
That's 3 seconds. Benefield is going to be on him or past him.
This is the fight for the race lead. Everyone else has come into the pit lane that was on the lead lap. So where Zach Millett comes out now will be where he comes out in this race. Looking along with the 83 of Adam Benefield. And Kevin West still currently ahead of him.
You know why? West took 2.
Oh.
Millett down and away. I believe he took 4. He did.
Millett is away. Kevin West out front, then Russell Black, Zach Millett. Where would Benefield come out?
Look down on the apron. There's that yellow back end of the 31 car. Here comes Benefield with a run.
Benefield, huge run. Millett.
I think he was trying to get out of the way.
Goodness.
I think Millett saw that and was trying to get out of the way. I called it a block there, but I think he was trying to get out of the way. Benefield will go by. Millett, though, going to have slightly better tires by about 4 laps.
Well, whatever it was, it definitely slowed down Benefield at least a little.
And Russell Black is in between them. He's got to go another 25 laps on this tank. He's not going to make it. He pitted 31 laps ago. There's no way he's going to make it.
Yeah, no.
And there he is pitting.
Yeah, no way. Russell Black comes into the pits. Now it's these top 3. Kevin West, Adam Benefield, Zach Millett. Millett just over half a second back to Benefield, but then it's 3.6 seconds from Benefield to West. But let's remember, West is on 2 right side tires.
He's got about a back straightaway between himself and the 83 car. A little bit extra change back to Millett. So I think we'll be talking to Kevin West this evening. He is about locked in for a top 3. He's got plenty of time back to Daniel Wiles, Jared Rashawn, and Zach Lindgren.
Could pitting early have been the call for Benefield to win this race?
Could 2 tires be the call for West?
That's what I'm wondering. I love this. 3 different strategies out of the top 10. Benefield pits early for 4, Millett pits late for 4, and West out front pits for 2.
Does grab the wall there on corner X just a little bit. He's holding steady right now. Turning decent lap times, but I think those tires are going to fall off a little bit sooner. The left sides won't catch him like the other cars will have on their cars. Oh. Thing's driving evil.
He is pushing right now.
Well, wouldn't you be?
Yes. Yes, I would.
Oh, man. He's working up on Jeremy Brown. Brown getting in the way a little bit. Will now get out of the way and let that 0-1 car go by.
On average, obviously that lap he had to get out of the way of Brown, but he's losing about 2 to 3 tenths a second a lap. Almost 3. We'll say about 3 now. And so if he's losing 3 tenths of a second a lap, that's not enough. He could stay out front. These tires will, however, continue to degrade. But there's a possibility that this could work.
It's going to be really, really close.
I think he's going to get passed by Benefield just, I think, under 5 to go.
And we could still see a caution. That could really change things up. Dylan Cardenas goes a lap down one more time. So Cardenas now 2 laps down. Make that, or is it now 3? 3 laps down to that 12 car. And Zach Millett continues to pursue the 83 of Benefield. Now, I've noticed through this race, Benefield seems to be a little more even with these guys early in the run, but saves his stuff better than anybody else. It is better late in the race. Right here, though, Brown on the outside of Benefield going to hold the 83 car up. Benefield takes the defensive line, and Millett has nowhere to go.
Yeah, Millett tried to look down to the bottom. Benefield was able to block it, but now Millett trying to get a run on the outside won't be able to do it here. Down to the inside,
there we go.
Looks to block.
Side-by-side racing. Contact. And Millett, surprisingly maybe, might drive by the 83. Not just yet. Side-by-side they stay. This is going to allow Kevin West to drive away from these two. Side-by-side for second.
Man, Benefield able to hold it there on the outside. Squeeze, it's going to be Tunis sideways, able to catch it. Both laughing over the radio, having fun at this hard-fought battle. Like you said, Andrew, meanwhile, Kevin West this is letting him move away. The gap is now up to 3.6 seconds. It was going down from that earlier. He wants these two cars to continue to fight.
He needs these two cars to continue to fight. This could be a spoiler victory for Kevin West this evening.
Well,
to wrestle one away from these two. That's right.
He lost the one at Iowa. If viewers, if you don't remember, West he sat on pole, was running well in the first 50 laps of that race, disconnected with internet issues, and was the strongest car all day long.
Man, you
And
say
he's looking to
Iowa.
make that-
I think back to Charlotte where that same thing happened there too.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
And wow,
Yes.
that was close. Joseph Tucker right in the way of the 83 and the 31. But yeah, I think back to Charlotte where that same thing happened for the
He was running
0-1 of
second.
West. And there have been multiple races this season where Kevin West has looked really good, but circumstances that be have taken him out of the running. Benefield now blocks Millett just a little bit. Not going to be side by side here to turn one this time with 15 laps to go. I think they're starting to accept second place.
I think they are too. If they didn't, they may be charging even harder right now. Now Millett back to the inside here. Going to look to the inside in turn 3. Benefield is going to give it to him.
Benefield knows maybe that he can get him back a little bit later in the run, or just knows that Millett's got the better car right now. Millett kept making advancements, and finally gets that second place back away from Benefield. But Benefield's been faster all night long.
He has, but Benefield right now talking over the radio. He has killed his right front already.
Wow.
And he just he does not quite have the same speed.
He's great at saving tires, but I'm starting to notice this season that maybe straight up dueling, the 31 might be a little bit better on the short run at not completely tearing the tires up.
Yeah, right now, Benefield running 29.7s, Millett running 29.4s.
I wonder what these two are going to think when they go back and watch this broadcast.
I have no idea. But right now, I still cannot believe this. We're under 15 laps to go. Kevin West has just under a 3-second lead on the ever-approaching Zach Millett. There's 0.5 of a second, so half a second in difference of lap times. This is going to be close still. Oh, Millett gets in the wall.
That was 12 to go the last time by, a half second between these two, like you said, in lap time. I think Millett can definitely run West down. If he can do anything with him, though, that's a different story.
Well, it's going to be easy for him to make the pass. West will obviously try to block, but if Millett has, there's too much speed difference between them.
That's if Millett doesn't run his tires off trying to catch him. 11 laps to go that time by. Coming to 10.
Gap 2.1. Now under 2 seconds.
This has been a long race. 10 laps to go now. These guys are worn out. They're starting to feel the long race. Depending on how high their force feedback is, maybe their arms are jelly. And there's a lot of lap traffic ahead of Kevin West. Some of them getting out of the way. I think that's Ruisi down there.
Yeah, Ruisi moves all the way down to the bottom, lets West go by. Then that was Sean Bounty as well moving out of the way. Or, well, he will have to move out of the way. He will go to the bottom here in 1 and 2. Gives West the lane. Now, Millett has to work that lap traffic.
It's going to be harder for Millett. They want to get out of the way of the leader. Not so easy to get by or get out of the way of the guy running in second place. You see Eddie Rose right behind the 0-1. He's a teammate to Millett. He might get out of the way nicely for that 31 car. But Millett gets on by Bounty and Ruisi rather easily. 8 laps to go this time by. And sure enough, you see Eddie Rose back off of the 0-1.
Gap 1 second between the two of them.
Oh, he's going to get there. And there goes Rose down out of the way of Millett playing the teammate game. And West has got to know Millett is fast approaching.
Oh, he definitely does. The real question is, what will he do when he gets to him? Obviously, the speed difference between them is significant, but it's hard to just let him go. I wonder if he'll try anything at all.
Just quickly going over to Kevin West's TikTok stream while commentating the race here. Pulling it up, and I'm just trying to see if he's sweating. See if maybe he's starting to feel the pressure. But he looks cool as a cucumber. He's got his pit vipers on. He's got his mullet wig. He looks as cool as ever. But he's got Zach Millett breathing down his neck with 3 wins at Darlington Raceway. 5 laps to go this next time by. This is going to be a hell of a battle.
Yeah, Millett continues ever charging. Now gap under 0.3 of a second. Now down to 2. Out here, out of turn 4, Millett has a great run down into 1 and 2. Still nothing yet to be done, but he still continues to advance. Wraps the bottom up towards the wall. Now turns back to the bottom to get momentum off of turn 2. Down the back straightaway, he is faster. West, what will he do to defend? Lap car of Cardenas in the way. He pulls down to the bottom. Millett is there to the back bumper of West.
No dice there. There'll be 4 laps to go, and here goes the 31 right on by Kevin West. That is a win slipping away from Kevin West here at Darlington Raceway. Millett goes by. Benefield, he's still 3 seconds back.
Benefield, nothing to be done for him. Kevin West gets passed up by Zach Millett. He just doesn't have enough speed on those 2 tires. It was a great play. It was a great call. He should finish here in second tonight. But Zach Millett been so consistent all night long. Pitted later than Benefield. That might have been his only possible mistake, even if he planned it. But he's ran an excellent race so far, and he's back to the lead where he's been almost all night.
We say that might have been a mistake. That could have been what saved him this evening. That could have been the little edge he had to drive by Benefield. That couple of laps, 5 laps or so, that might have been enough. It'll be 2 laps to go this time by for Zach Millett. Millett runs over West, Benefield, Wiles, Wishon, your top 5. 2 laps to go this time by. Popsicle sticks in the air. It has been a foggy night here at Darlington Raceway. Tire and fuel strategy, it's been foggy. But just 1 caution this evening. Just 1. It completely changed things up. We didn't know what was going to happen. Benefield had a pit penalty. We thought he would run Zach Millett down. He almost did. He got by him through some pit strategy. But now with 1 lap to go at Darlington, the white flag is out, brought to you by Whiplash Sim Cams, and Zach Millett is about a mile away from victory.
Even with the fog, there was nothing in the way of defeat for Zach Millett tonight. Millett loose out of turn 2. A little bit of celebratory out of there. Wraps it through turn 3. He's looking for the win.
Zach Millett off of turn number 4 at Darlington Raceway. Not a stripe on that card. Checkered flag, car 31. And that is a 4th win on the season. So Zach Millett, points leader, comes into tonight and defends it well. We never knew who was going to win this race until the final 4 laps.
No, while Zach Millett made an excellent ticket for it to be him, I mean, with that end strategy, that was amazing. Daniel Wiles comes up to give him a celebratory bump, a congratulatory bump. And Zach Millett, a 4th win on the season, already 600 points above the cut line, and currently your regular season champion. I think he's been your regular season or championship leader. Been your regular season championship leader, I think, since race number 3.
I think so. He'll come down and do some burnouts on the front stretch. And what a show it is for Zach Millett, burning it down in South Carolina.
I can't believe his leg isn't too tired to do a burnout.
Arms too, yeah.
Golly.
A long race, 250 laps, and I go back to the fact that we didn't know who was going to win this race until the final 4.
I love the call by the top 3. All different strategies there, and it made for an entertaining last 30 laps.
Zach Millett parks it down on the front stretch, and that'll be it. This evening at Darlington Raceway, we'll talk to some drivers here in a few and wrap things up. Let's take a look back at your unofficial race results. When it's all said and done, of course, we know Zach Millett's out front, but how about the rest of the field? Kevin West there in the 2nd spot. Adam Benefield third. Here's the graphic. There we go. It finally loaded. Zach Millett, Kevin West, Adam Benefield, your top three. We'll talk to each of them. Daniel Wiles, a strong fourth place. Jared Bashan, a strong fifth place. Zach Lindgren, the final car on the lead lap, finishes sixth. Eddie Rose in seventh. Russell Black, Gary Bowman, and Sean Boundy, your top 10.
Well, then back there in 11th, it's the 39 car of Joseph Tucker and Matthew Taylor right behind. Then it's in 13th, the 07 of Jeremy Brown and Daniel Cardenas rounds it out. 14th. Then in 15th, it's the 50 of Brian Marisi, and in Mendenhall finishes at 99 laps down. Dalton Tucker, Christian Light, Alfie Sharon Jr., Michael Moultrie all had issues here tonight to round out your top 20. And your last car in the field here tonight will be that number 9 of Matthew Montgomery coming home 21st.
There's a full look through your unofficial race results this evening. Montgomery 189 laps down. That's a long, long ways back. Zach Millett, though, goes to victory lane. We'll talk to driver 31 in his fourth victory on the season. A little bit of, what's the word for it? I can't think of what it's called now. The soundboard, there we go. But Zach Millett able to wrestle victory away from Kevin West. Congratulations, Zach. And did you know that you had that race locked up in the final 10 laps, or was it like us? Were you waiting until the final 4 when you finally got by the 0-1?
I really thought I made a mistake there. I mean, I knew when they pit, and I was kind of thinking I'd want to be 3 or 4 laps after. I mean, when I came out of the pits and they were so far ahead, I was stressing right out. And then Adam was right on me, and once Adam got by me, I thought I was in big, big trouble too. So it was right up until when I passed Kevin, I was like, okay, this might actually work out.
Well, you finally are able to wrestle that one away from the 0-1. I'm going to keep saying wrestle away because you had to literally wrestle it away from him side by side, racing there for a moment. I know he was on 2 tires, you were on 4, but were you concerned that maybe you would get there and wouldn't be able to get by him?
Oh, absolutely, because I knew Adam and Kevin both had really, really good long run pace. Danny Wiles did too. I mean, all 3 of those guys had wicked long run pace, and I just couldn't match it. The only thing I could do was try to escape the best I could, and as they catch me, just hopefully pit before them. But it was tough, man. It was the plan was to take 2 the whole time. The last 40, 50 laps, I was planning on short pitting, taking 2, and seeing how far I could maybe edge out. But as I was rolling down pit road, something just told me take 4, and man, I'm glad I did.
That was the difference maker this evening, those 4 tires. And I got to ask, we saw the fog build in practice and get to the point where it was really messing with the broadcast cameras even. Was that a concern for you guys at all, or does that not change anything for you guys?
Well, it was a big concern for me because all the admins were pretty busy this past week, and I've never been really good at setting up sessions. So I just I got home as quick as I could. I set it up as quick as I could. I totally messed up qualifying. Big sorry to everybody for that. That was chaos. That's my bad. And then when I saw the weather, that was just cherry on top. So it was a lot of stress tonight, man.
Well, you're able to get the race win this evening. Congratulations. Hopefully we're talking again soon.
I hope so, man. Thank you.
Second place, it'll be Kevin West in glory. All of that mullet glory. I gotta say, tuning into each one of his streams on TikTok is always interesting, but it would have been even more interesting if he could have got that win, Scott. So close, comes up 1 spot shy.
Yeah, I was honestly, I was really rooting for him after the issues that he's had to face here in the past couple races, especially after what happened at Charlotte and Iowa with the disconnect. Kevin, tell me about that last pit stop. You came down and took 2. What was going on in your head?
Well, I just needed to give myself a chance, really. I just doing what we were doing the whole race. We weren't really going to beat Millett, just sticking to the strategy we were on. So I knew we didn't have to take a full tank of fuel, so I just came down through 2 on it and hoped for the best. And I was hoping they'd get to racing real hard, and they got to racing, but they sorted it out just in time and gave Zach just enough time to catch me. But man, what a race. That's probably the most fun I've had in the next gen, to be honest with you. I don't really race these cars too much. I joined up in NLR just to get some experience under my belt in the next gen, and man, I'm having a ton of fun. Great point today as well. I think we're like 15th or 16th. We're pretty close to P12, so this might put us in.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that battle with getting into the playoffs. Currently, you're 14th, 24 points out. This is an excellent points day for you coming home second. I know you wanted just a little bit more, but how does it feel to come here and gain that result? Give yourself that result.
Oh, it feels great, and to be competitive with Zach and Adam is also a big shot in the arm for me. So. Gained a lot of confidence this weekend. If I can figure this next gen out, these guys might have a problem.
Well, if they're going to have that problem, looking to the next 2 races, we got 2 races until the playoff 12 are decided. What do you need to do at those 2 races to secure yourself? We go to Pocono and Richmond.
Basically, I just need to stay out of trouble and have good points days, top 5s or so, and just focus on getting into the playoffs. I can't do anything if I'm not in the top 12, so just basically not, try not to put myself into too many precarious positions and give and take a little bit and just take the top 5 instead of, trying to drive over my head and get the win.
Well, I know you wanted a little bit more here tonight, but I know you're especially happy about all the points, and I know it sounds like you had an excellent time here at Darlington tonight. Hopefully we'll be talking to you again.
Yes, sir. I hope we're talking from Victory Lane next week, guys.
Hey, let's hope it.
Yeah, buddy.
Congratulations, Kevin.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.
Well, that was Kevin West finishing it up second. Up next, we've got that of Adam Benefiel. Made a speeding mistake early on, then was able to come back from that, but just didn't quite have enough in the end.
And I think at times there were moments where we thought we'd be talking to Benefiel as the race winner, moments where we didn't think we'd be talking to Adam at all. Well, it turns out, Adam, we're talking to you 3rd place. What went wrong that last run or so? You were running down the leaders, catching up, you got within a couple of seconds of them, and then what happened?
Well, I think it was Scott I listen to broadcasts during the race, so just something to do in case there's cautions and whatnot, and I kind of see what's going on. But Scott made a comment about possibly splitting it, and then I started running numbers through my head and thinking about it, and I was like, well, I'll push like heck to try to gain everything I could, and that's what I did, and I pitted trying to catch Millet and Kevin. I wanted to get as close to Kevin as I possibly could, like with 30 to go. I ended up getting there with 33 to go, but I feel like it kind of would have worked out maybe a little bit better if I would have had clean laps exiting. My first couple of laps, I was having to deal with lap traffic, but also I slid the box, so I don't know, coulda, shoulda, woulda. I put myself in that situation from the get-go. First stop of the night, I'm telling my kids good night and don't even realize I hit the line at 48. So, it is what it is. We had a ungodly fast car. I mean, long run, we were just crazy fast, and then we were there. We could pull it out on the short run if I wanted to. So. Yeah, I don't know, man. It sucks. Millet didn't make a mistake, and he deserved to win it.
Well, mistakes this evening aside, how do you capitalize on these last 2 races to try and get as close to Zach Millet as possible in the points? I don't know that you're going to get there. I think it's maybe a too large of a gap, but how do you capitalize on these 2 races anyways and do your best?
I mean, clean up the mistakes, but really, it don't matter. Once we get into the playoffs, everything resets. I just want to, try to win every race that I can. Me and Zach have gotten a lot more comfortable racing around one another and racing each other really tight. So that's what we were laughing about during Kevin's interview. Is once I realized that I wasn't going to run Kevin down, and I was, Millet was coming, I was like, I was laying on the right rear. I think it was Scott said I burned the right front off. I burned the right rear.
I heard
off.
You say right, and I wasn't sure which one you said.
Yeah, no, I started leaning on the right rear real hard, trying to defend on Zach there and throwing it in there. And then my last hoorah was I backed up to entry turn 1 on his outside and just pinned it through the center and leaned the right rear on the wall. And after that, I was like, I ain't gonna wreck us both. I'll race him hard, but I ain't gonna wreck him. But you know, I don't even know what the freaking question was you asked me, but it was good, man.
Well, Adam, good to talk to you when it's all said and done. 7 laps led. Maybe could have been a bit more this evening, sure, but good to talk to you regardless, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, man. Hey, just real quick, I want to say thanks to Team Conti, Sim Performance, you guys for broadcasting, Pit Stop TV, Brandon and Dalton for everything to do with this league. It's a really fun league. I really wanted Kevin to win that one, man. I like Kevin. I like it. I like his style. I like everything he's doing on TikTok. And once I realized I was out of it, I was trying like crazy to hold Zach up so Kevin could get one. But he's so close. So close.
You say when you realized you're out of it. When did you realize you were out of it? Like, why did you realize you were out of it for the win?
When the right rear was telling me that it's over, pal.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
when I was turning more right than left in the corners, I knew we had a problem. So, I mean, dude, it was going to take a miracle and a Hail Mary to come back from what I put myself in. I kind of think, not to ramble on here, but I kind of think that if I actually would have got when I got the wave around, if I actually would have got to do my pit stop and start back with the pack, I think it would have been a different outcome. But for some reason, we didn't do an extra lap this time, and I started 10 seconds behind everybody. So it is what it is.
Yeah, we talked about that possibility, and I think I would have to agree. But still a good night for you in the 83 Team Conti Sim Performance Chevrolet. Good to talk to you here, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, buddy.
That's Adam Benefiel. Another strong run here in the SimRat Market Series. And that'll do it for us as far as talking to drivers and everything else going on the racetrack here, Scott. What do you make of this 250-lapper?
Yeah, well, it's probably one of the longest races I've done, especially with the next gen. And so, but it was especially clean. I love the clean racing. We know these guys here at No Limit Racing with the SimRat Market Series. We know they are an extremely clean bunch. They are heartfelt, good racers, and so they provided a great show here tonight. And especially, I was so happy near the end. I'm glad that Adam mentioned it there. I'm really glad that I mentioned the 30 split now, because I love that battle at the end with guys taking different strategies and all of them trying something different.
It definitely added something. I think unintentionally added a really cool component of the race and changed things up for these drivers. But either way, just good to get through another one here this evening on Pit Stop TV. And here's a look at what's upcoming for us. We've talked about it already, so we'll kind of glance through this. Tomorrow night is the Sarah Super Series at Slinger. Make sure to tune in at 9:45 Eastern. A day from now, it'll be happening. You'll want to tune in and see who's going to win that short track race on the high banks of Slinger Speedway. Then next week, it's Chicagoland, Pocono, and we'll be going to a mystery race for the Sarah Super Series next Thursday. Make sure to tune in for all these broadcasts on Pit.TV on all of our social media platforms down below, Scott.
Yeah, you can catch it all at our website, pitstoptv.com, our Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, and X. You'll catch all the updates and what is upcoming and next in the awesome racing that we have to provide.
Thanks for tuning in this evening here at Pit Stop TV. It's been a pleasure as always. This broadcast brought to you in part by No Limit Racing, by SimRat Market, and by all series partners. There are quite a few. Just wait for the graphic to roll around here. Race 10 was a doozy and a half. I tell you what, we were expecting 193 laps. We got 250. We got some great tire battles, some great fuel battles, and everything in between. There you go. Apex Sim Racing, IMB Raceware, Moza Racing, RS Button Boxes, Team Conti Sim Performance, Trackbar Media, The Butt Kicker, Extreme Graphics, and Cyber Edge Hosting. Thanks for doing what you do, as well as Luke's Playhouse there in Lincoln, North Carolina. Thanks for being here this evening at Pit Stop TV. It's been a pleasure. We'll catch you all next time.
A new wave has formed for Season 2, an epic tour that ends with a new legacy. The OGs are back, ready to defend their legacy, while fresh meat joins the competition, eager to make their mark. Who is willing to battle door-to-door and conquer 2024? Buckle up, because the season of a lifetime is among us.
Here we go. Who's going to get the better restart?
Steve, look at all this action as we come on lap 100.